This week we're speedballing that slow-mo as we discuss the 2012 sci-fi action movie, Dredd. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bloody Bits Horror Show. I am your host, Eddie, the Axe Jefferson, and joining me as always, the guy who's rent-controlled in the peach tree, Tim Yobo. How you doing today, good sir?
Wait, all those apartments rent-controlled? Because they just went up like 10 points in my eyes. All right.
I mean, why else would you stay there, Tim? Look.
I'm assuming that, the temperature outside or the environment outside is
fair. Yeah, it is a radioactive wasteland, Tim. And speaking of radioactive wastelands, we are joined once more by our co-host, the mama of the show. It's Candice. How you doing today?
I'm so glad you put me with mama. Man, talk about boss bitch.
Oh, no kidding, man. She is fantastic as a big, bad, evil gal in this one. But here we are wrapping up the end of Hard-Dicked July, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to come up with a good theme for that one.
Until October, right?
But we have been joined once more by a longtime friend of the show, co-host of the Grindbin podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Bobby. How are you doing?
Oh, bloody buddies. It is long overdue that we bring law and order to the Bloody Bits Horror Show. I am excited.
You're right. Things have been going a little bit too loosey-goosey lately. We need somebody who's judge, jury, and executioner.
We need the law.
We need the law. Although technically he wouldn't really be able to affect the law. He's just able to carry it out. I don't think he has any legislative power.
Yeah, he can't change anything, right?
Bobby, are you very familiar with the Judge Dredd comics? Do you know the lore a whole bunch? Because I got questions.
I'm glad. I am. I am a pretty big. That's a good way to open this. Actually, I was curious how familiar you guys were with Judge Dredd.
Oh,
I saw a documentary about it. I think when
the
this movie
2000
came out.
AD documentary.
Probably, yeah.
I lived it.
Oh, that's a good one. That's great. But
no, not at all. I have a massive cultural blind spot when it comes to comic books. But this is one of the few comic book movies.
You literally belittle them and
say, literally.
Well, this wasn't even like DC, right? This is like a Dark Horse or an Epic.
No, this is
things, right?
Neither. This is actually is a British magazine called 2000 AD. This is a British character, believe it or not. In
really?
origin.
Yeah.
The character is not British, but the
British,
creation is. Well, the guy who invented it's an American who was living in Britain in the 70s.
That makes more sense.
And this was actually a comic strip before it was anything else. 2000 AD was like a heavy metal-esque magazine where you get short stories throughout, you get artwork, all this stuff. I think it's still around, but in 77 they started running a strip called Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be so. It can't be like in your regular Sunday paper. I don't really see this wedged between, Funky Winkerbean and Calvin and Hobbes.
No, I think this could be a comic strip in, the Epic Times.
I was way off on my guess, because I thought it was going to be, one of those icon comics where the dudes were, super roided up, and everyone had the square jaw and the gigantic muscles. You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen that before. Yeah, that's.
I thought certainly
that is certainly a way that he gets drawn sometimes, but it wasn't how he was intended to be originally.
Oh.
If you'd like, I can give you a quick Cliff's Notes on the creation.
You know what? Let's get to that after we ask Candice a very important question. Candice, what have you been consuming this week?
Nothing but shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh no!
Oh, why?
God. Well, because my son wouldn't stop bothering me about it, and I knew if I didn't finally watch it with him, I'd never hear the end of it. So I was like, fuck it, it's an hour and a half long.
That's what go watch in your room.
No, this was not. I was like, I've never seen this. I don't know much about it. I can't just let him loose.
So he wanted a double feature of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Megan is Missing?
Oh my god!
Now I have to watch that fucking movie just to see where Candice's son.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
No,
Eddie.
What?
There is like a 40-second graphic rape scene. And get this, I didn't even watch it with him because I was like, "Oh, Eddie said it was fine, so sure, whatever." He watched it by himself.
She's like, "I'll leave the room for 1 minute." What could happen in 1 minute?
Yeah.
He watched it by himself in the middle of the night, and the next morning he wakes up and he's like shell shocked, and he's describing to me this movie. And I'm like, I am so pissed at Eddie right now. I know that motherfucker was messing with me.
Can I ask you a question, Candice? Do you think he's now going to be more or less likely to meet somebody he met online?
Much less likely, that's for sure.
Hey, Candice, you're welcome.
Yeah, but he was like, he's looked shell shocked, but he's like, and he goes, but I loved it. He's like, it was so dark and disturbing, and I loved it. He's like, I want to watch it again. I'm like, what? I was like, you need to pump the brakes, son.
Oh man! So you've been consuming shit. Then that's fun. So you watched the Winnie the Pooh movie. How did you like that?
I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't realize how bad it was going to be, and it's not bad in like the they're trying really hard, but they didn't have a lot of money sort of way. No, this was pure exploitation.
Yep.
They were
100%.
Clearly just making a cash grab.
Yeah, they wanted to be the first one with the name.
With minimum effort. Yeah, and I was like, this is awful. Not one point does Pooh Bear say, "Oh, bother."
I know.
Like, what? How do you miss that?
Does the killer in the Pooh costume get stuck in a hole, though?
No, he does not.
Waste. What a waste.
Hey.
I never understood why Winnie the Pooh was such a big thing. Wasn't there like 2 cartoons?
No, there was a lot of TV shows and movies.
So I'm talking about the TV shows.
Yeah, you had the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and you had Welcome to Pooh Corner off the top of my head.
There was a lot of Winnie the Pooh stuff for us millennials.
I know it. I loved Winnie the Pooh. To me, Winnie the Pooh is like the essence of all that is good and pure and right in this world.
He's banned in China.
I know, and that always cracks me up.
Yeah, it's very funny.
But yeah, it was not even worth watching just because it's so bad. It is just a total waste of time.
Hey, and if you guys want to not watch it because it's so bad, but hear my thoughts on it, tune into Everything I Learned from Movies, where I covered it a little while back.
Yeah, I know.
It is so bad, man. Well, okay. What about you, Tim? What have you been consuming, my friend?
Not too much. My wife and I have been getting hooked on those Motel Hell fucking shows from Gordon
those
Ramsay.
are fun. Yeah.
Oh, have you watched them?
Again, I've fallen for thinking it was a TV series based on the movie.
Oh, Bobby. So disappointed. He had his popcorn pop. Man, he was ready.
Talk about Hard Dick July. I was like, wait a minute.
It's like me thinking the Kardashians were the Cardassians from Star Trek. And I turned on and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
How can we possibly keep up with them? They have spaceships.
They're so double-edged.
But have you seen a couple of episodes of this, Eddie?
Of the Hotel Hell? Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Why is he showing his ass every single time?
I have no idea.
They show him going in the shower. They show like the bottom third of his legs, taking his fucking pants off, his underwear off, and then you always see his fucking pasty white ass.
Yeah, that was a thing in the European run of Kitchen Nightmares. Is you'd always see him change. It's very weird.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre.
And it's not like he's got a great ass or anything like that.
That'd be different.
Probably got one of those white guy butts. It's like flat.
It is. Yeah, it is, Candice. It looks like somebody like it's souffle and somebody slammed on the door.
like someone just carved a line in his back.
Oh, that's the worst. When you got Hank Hill ass. Oh, man.
Exactly.
But
rough.
I think this is the problem probably with all reality shows. But when you watch them back
seeing
to back,
Gordon
to
Ramsay's
back,
ass.
No, it's just it's just that it's
he's in the window pressing a ham.
He's pressing it against the glass.
Yeah.
That's how he cleans the shower curtain.
I just want to take a picture of it, show it to him, and just point at it and be like, "What is that?"
This chicken would have been better as a cordon bleu. Just bam, puts it out there.
It's raw.
Just showing like chicken breast and flour.
Yeah, that's a fun show, man.
No, it's just I noticed the ass a lot. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, Tim, you've been eating Gordon Ramsay's ass. I guess that's what you've been consuming. Bobby, but it's been a minute since we had you on here. What about you? What have you been consuming?
Well, my classy ass took in some live theater.
Oh.
Ooh.
It sure did. My birthday just passed last week, and one of the
Happy
activities.
birthday.
Oh, thank you so much.
Happy birthday, yeah.
One of the things we did in honor of it was we headed out to Hollywood's Pantages Theater and caught Beetlejuice the musical.
Oh,
Was it good?
Man.
It was fantastic.
Ooh.
Really, really interesting and fun. They don't try to adhere to the film. Like, our titular character isn't doing a Michael Keaton at all. He doesn't look like him. He doesn't talk like him. He's his own character, but he still captures the essence of the character.
I like that.
There's many different Beetlejuices, right? There isn't just one.
Yeah. Yeah, take the idea and put your own twist on it, and let your own talent shine.
Because I feel like it would have been boring if you're just reenacting the film.
Yeah,
and so the story does some veers from the source material, and the characters do, and it's a hell of a time. Like, if you ever get a chance to catch that, do, because it is pretty great.
Might actually get me interested in theater.
I'll say this right now: animatronic sandworm.
Ooh. You got me.
That big motherfucker comes flying in onto the stage,
Holy
and you're
shit.
like, yeah!
That sounds fantastic. Oh, my God. All righty. So, yeah, that if you're in the LA area, man, hit Bobby up. He'll let you know where to go. Cause,
we'll go. We'll sit next to each other.
Yeah. Just laughing and slapping knees, man. So I have had the fortune, Mr. Yobo. I've been playing a little Diablo 4, but I got my heart broken by it a little bit because they nerfed literally every class, and people are pissed.
Except for the newbies who are happy.
No, they're not even happy because it's just such a slog. Anyhow,
I've heard it's pretty samey.
Nah, it's different enough. Like, they just released the new season thing that they have going on with it, which is, I mean, to I guess break it down. It's like a DLC that's free, but only lasts for 4 months. So then all of those features and everything get rolled out.
What the fuck is going on? MLB The Show is doing the same thing. They have sets of cards that are only good for 3 months, and then after that, you can't use those cards anymore, and you got to start over from scratch.
Sounds like
Tim.
a waste of fucking money.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
The other thing I've been consuming is MLB The Show.
Oh my God. Please, I got to get us set up. Somehow we got to figure a way to rig it so that I can play with Vols. We play against you. I will throw the game and have him lose his fucking shit.
Dude, I
So
am
you can hear it.
so terrible at it. So terrible
Stream
at it. Like, I got the pitching down okay. The hitting
Pitching is the easiest thing to pick. Oh, well, number one is... believe me, I've gone on YouTube looking for hitting tips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like where you have to you go into custom practice, set up the pitches that you want, look at them being thrown for like 5 minutes so you can get this timing down. You can recognize the pitch out of his hand. But the hitting is definitely, especially playing online. Some motherfuckers have it. They're using wired controllers and monitors because that extra millisecond of reaction is all it takes between a home run or a pop-up.
Man, that's just too much effort.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'd rather just have fun.
Remember Bases Loaded on the NES? Oh, that was great.
I was going to say, Tim, when you're talking to me about, like, first thing is you got to do is you got to go into the practice mode, and it's not going to fucking happen.
Oh boy, the soundboards come back. It's been a while.
Especially it's a sports game, right? You can't just that'd be like, oh, I picked up Call of Duty Black Ops because the Xbox servers are back up. I'm going to just jump into multiplayer. I'd be like, maybe do some of the campaign first so you get a little used to the control and shit.
No, Tim, so what I did was I did that weird Road to the Show mode that they have first, where you start out as like a AA team or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny because I got to some point where I guess you're supposed to get recruited to an MLB team. And the guy comes up to me, he's like, hey man, how would you like to play for the Chicago Cubs? And I was like, no. I don't think the Cubs want to play for the Chicago Cubs.
And the game rewarded you for a correct answer.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Here's some money.
You're clearly ready.
Why don't you just go play some Diablo? It's a better game. I was like, that's a good idea. No problem. So that, I haven't gone and seen Barbie yet, but I will be putting it on the bank as soon as I can get it.
I want to see Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer? Oppenheimer and Anthony Heimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
And John Jacob.
Yeah, I wanted to shut up. I was going to go see Oppenheimer, but some fucker spoiled the ending for me.
Well, I'm giving it a little bit because there's no place in IMAX
shut up.
playing it. Yeah, no, Candice, just plays over that joke. Plus, I'm hearing that some of the places are having a tough time with playing it in the 70 millimeter or some of the IMAX formats.
Do you think I should nuke that joke?
Yeah, I kind of bombed on it. It's my bad. My bad.
Wow, that made you laugh, Candice? That one? Three jokes in?
It's the rule of 3.
It's the rule of 3, Tim. Come on, buddy. So here we are. Speaking of rule of 3, that's not the 3rd week. Fuck that. Speaking of rule of 4, then we're in the 4th week of this. And before we get to the movie, before we get to the background, and Bobby, I know you're waiting with bated breath to let us all know everything about the judges and the Dredd.
Well, I was gonna ask questions as we moved along.
We absolutely can. I'll do my best to answer them
as our resident expert. But before we get to that, I have a little announcement, a little housekeeping to do here for the podcast. And that is that we've been doing this podcast for 3 years now and been very loosely formatted, just sort of whatever month theme we thought sounded fun. We just threw it out
there. We
there.
do a whole format of movies every month.
The loosest podcast in town.
But, I mean, we're doing action movies on a horror podcast.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking loose, too.
We did Infinity Pool for folk horror.
Yeah, that's, you know what? I could make a better argument for Infinity Pool being folk horror than Dredd being anything that needs to be on a horror podcast.
It's gory enough.
But it's fantastic.
Dog ear that because I do have a connection to this being a horror podcast.
Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Contraire, sir.
But for the listeners, I just wanted to announce we will be changing the show's format beginning with the month of August. For our 4th year, we're going to be covering the decade of the 90s, 1 month per year. So starting at August 1990, September 91, yada, yada, yada. We've got 2 extra months, though, because there's only, 10 years in any set of 10. So those 2 months, we're going to be doing just some non-horror related 90s content.
We're going to definitely have to do video game movies.
Of course, yeah. Video game movies. I mean... Yeah, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
Can I come back for Double Dragon?
Of course you can, Bobby. And I think we're going to...
Robert Patrick some more.
Huey Lewis, what's the news?
I'm going to try to get the McCollums on for Mario.
Oh.
I mean,
that's it. You just have to say Mario, and they'll be here.
Yeah, that's how you summon
in a mirror.
Yeah.
It's like Candyman, but a giant green pipe pops up.
They shoot out of it.
They come shooting out. Yeah. So you have that to look forward to. Now...
I have a question regarding that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Once you've cycled through the whole decade, are you starting back at 1990 again?
No idea.
Are you going to switch to another decade?
At the end of
the same thing, yeah.
At the end of the year?
Yeah, once you've gotten through, when you've reached 1999, do we dial it back or do we?
You know what? That's a good question. Maybe we'll put it up to a vote. I could see dialing it back and hitting the 80s, or I could even see doing the aughts. Man, hit the fucking new metal of horror.
Yeah,
new metal horror. I mean, that was my first episode on this show.
Well, in the credits of this movie, there's some connection to the aughts and horror.
Well, look at there this. You go. So you know what? We'll I could be swayed either way. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to be kicking it off with the least 90s horror movie I could figure. Because my idea is I want there to be a sort of a narrative that shows how horror evolves and changes over the 90s, right? So I was like, what could be better than like a 1980s horror in the 90s? And that's Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I saw that in the Discord.
I just watched that recently.
Oh, really? We're going to have Mike on. And, if you're free this weekend, man, your next coming weekend.
I am not, unfortunately, but I'm going to be listening to that.
Well, we'll have you on for Wishmaster for sure.
You can call in.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. Just pre-record something, and I'll drop it in through my soundboard.
I'll leave you a voicemail.
Yeah, leave like different sound bites, and he'll just drop them in at appropriate moments.
Yep. And I've got one more announcement. And this is going to be a surprise. No, this is going to be a surprise to everybody.
I just got nervous because I was like, I don't know what this one is. So
yeah, this is going to be a surprise to everybody, and that is. I am going to be spinning up another separate podcast.
What?
Oh shit!
Yes.
Because you feel like you have too much time
to do.
Yeah, exactly.
This podcast is going to be very short form. We're looking at approximately 30 minutes an episode once a week. Where, well, I'll give you the title of it. Okay, it's going to be called Ed and Matt on Campus.
Ed and Matt on Campus. I totally know what you're doing.
So what we're going to be doing is for a college year, so starting when school starts, taking a break in spring break, and then ending when school ends, Matt and I are going to be reviewing Dead Man on Campus once a week.
Wow.
That's a lot of Dead Man on Campus.
And when I say reviewing that, I mean watching the movie once a week.
Holy shit. Well,
you're going to be crazy about like the first 3 after 3 weeks is done.
Oh, no.
Tim,
this shit's going to be so good after like 20 episodes.
Yeah. So my other thought is that once we get to the halfway point, then we're going to start having guests. When they're just like...
You said half an hour, so scratch Yobo from that one.
Tim, you couldn't watch that movie. You'd get so angry.
I couldn't talk about a movie anything for half an hour only, so...
That's a good point. I don't think we're going to be. I think we might do a special, like where we actually do like this and recap the movie. But otherwise, it's just going to be like. So, who do you think was putting in a really good performance this week?
What did you notice this time?
What did you notice this time?
Every week, you're just going to watch this movie and then start over doing a review of it.
It's a cinematic Rorschach test.
Like, I think it's
see how it looks different to you each time.
It's like one of those fucking psyop things.
Well, you see, Tim, the purpose of that movie is that the two roommates in college were failing, and they wanted to get somebody to come in, be their roommate.
The premise of the movie.
Yeah, and then drive him crazy, and hopefully he kills himself. So I'm predicting
what turns Matt into a sleeper agent.
Yeah. So I'm giving Matt exactly what he wants. Dead Man on Campus.
And you're making him regret it by making him take it over and over and over again?
Man.
Plus, you know what?
This is just like Wishmaster.
I hope he's not listening, because I can tell you right now, Matt, Eddie's going to fuck you. He's going to watch that movie once at 8 times speed and just make you watch it over and over and over again until you lose your fucking mind. I just saw the scam right there. You better edit this out, because...
You think he's a man of honor. He's not.
Candice.
I didn't watch fucking Twilight.
Candice, how dare you?
Picked Hudson Hawk.
Don't fucking act innocent. You're the fucking Jigsaw of podcasters.
Candice.
Well, technically, I did watch it at 8 times speed, and then I had AI write all my notes.
Yeah. Because of the writer's strike. Yeah.
So, I just wanted to ask if there is anybody out there who is a therapist of any kind who would like to volunteer, like, let's say, 1 hour of their time, half an hour up top, half an hour at the back. I want someone to do an evaluation of our mental states at the beginning of this, and then again at the end of it. I just
I'm sure you'll be fine because you'll be cheating.
No, I won't be cheating.
Mm-hmm. No, you know what we need? We need video of you watching it every single week. And you have to be in different clothes. I want different backgrounds. I want to see your children. You can blur out their faces, but I want to see them growing up over the year period. Or
don't cut your hair. We want to see the growth over time.
Tim wants the day's newspaper and a quarter for scale. Fucking dude. So yeah, stay tuned for
too many times.
Ed and Matt on Campus. Coming soon. And we even talked about it. Like, after we're done with this, man, we just kick into the
Dead Man on Campus.
Yeah, Dead Man, Ed and Matt. It's close enough, all right? Fuck you. The other idea we had was covering it minute by minute and then calling it Dead Men on Campus, but I think this is fine.
But I like this better.
Yeah, Bobby, you appreciate that?
Oh, no, this is a great idea. I fully support this.
And then what's great is, you know what? If it kicks off, if people like it, they want us to keep doing it. I mean, on campus could mean any number of college movies.
Oh, no. What's that one with like a caveman? Was that Big Man on Campus? It was like a Bigfoot one?
Yep,
you could do Road Trip.
Road Trip, we could do Van Wilder.
Oh, Soul Brothers finally going to come to the podcast.
I could not do that for a year, Tim. That's not going to happen.
Ghoulies 3.
Oh, yeah. So here we are. And thank you so much for bringing Dredd to the podcast, Bobby,
Oh,
in more than one way. But I have to ask, man, why did you pick this movie?
This is one of my favorites of the last since it came out, let's say. Of the last 10, 20 years, I think this ranks among my favorite movies. My background on it was I actually when the 1995 Judge Dredd came out, I was 11 years old and I'd never heard of that character, so I didn't even go see it. I caught it in my teens on VHS and was like, don't think I'm going to read this comic. I've later found out more about that movie and that it actually has a ton of shit from the comics crammed into it, but it unfortunately was 1995 and starring Sylvester Stallone at the height of his Planet Hollywoodness.
Don't forget the sidekick.
Yeah, which apparently Stallone had written into the movie. Which is insane. Like,
it's a good pick.
The 95 Dredd was supposed to feel like RoboCop. It was supposed to be this R-rated satire of the criminal justice system.
I don't think it succeeded.
No, because Stallone showed up and he was like, I thought, he didn't get any of the jokes, any of the satire, because it was all deadpan. And he was like, where are the jokes? It's supposed to be an action comedy. And he brought in his own writing team to fuck it all up.
Were they all named Sylvester Stallone? Every member of his team is named that, so his name's always on the credit?
More or less. And that's how it became that's how it became like a Rob Schneider, Sylvester Stallone buddy comedy. And so that stink kind of stayed on the character forever. In between the two films, I started reading the comics and I discovered this shit's RoboCop. The tone of the comic books and everything. This is where everything from RoboCop came from. Along with a bunch of other things too. And I've kind of become, I don't want to say obsessed, but I'm a big fan of the character now that I've done this deep dive through the history of the comic books. So by the time 2012's Dredd came out, I was there opening night, man. I was ready to go because I had the context now for what it was supposed to be. Were you wearing a helmet? I usually am, but I had my big scowl.
Helmet. Not your mailman pith helmet.
And what a joy of a night it was to go see Dredd in the theater with the 4 other people who went.
And it was in 3D too, right?
It was. So only certain theaters were carrying it, and it was at the tail end of that 3D trend that had happened at the time. And so a lot of people were like, when they heard this movie was coming out, they're like, 1, it's in 3D. No thanks. Tired of that shit. 2, it's Judge Dredd. I'm not going to another Judge Dredd movie.
It was poisoned.
So yeah, it bombed. It hit the ground so hard it cracked the pavement, which was heartbreaking because this was going to be a trilogy. And to this day, they're still trying to revive it in some manner. I know they're trying to do a TV series. Or Carl Urban said, "I'm in. Like, if you guys get it going, I'm doing it." But I suppose I should explain some of the background of the. Well, before I do, what about you guys? Had you seen the '95 Judge Dredd?
Oh yeah.
I mean, were you going to go take turns or?
No, I think that's all we need to do is just say yes.
I think we've all seen the '95 Judge Dredd.
I didn't see the '95 one until I was in my 30s.
Oh wow! So that must have really hit.
I always knew the character of Judge Dredd, and of course, I always knew that I am the law,
right.
Like how bad it was. And I remember at the time when it came out, people who read the comics were like, "Fuck this movie!"
Yeah,
like they hated it. And when this movie came out, everybody was like, "Fuck yes, this captures it. This is exactly what we wanted."
Well, I think they did a really smart thing in that they...
Then they had Sylvester Stallone involved.
That was the first big thing that they did right. The second thing was that they focused only on characters that weren't featured in the last one. They looked at all of the characters from the comics and went, okay, we're not using any of that shit because we don't want to remind people of the 95 one.
Yeah.
Smartly.
And so they just only plucked characters that they hadn't yet seen, which I think is really smart if you're trying to reintroduce that.
Filed a restraining order on Rob Schneider.
They paid him $5 million just to stay home and not even go to see this movie theater.
You get your spaghetti out of here.
That's right. But when did you guys see this one?
Oh, I saw this very shortly after it came out. Actually, I didn't see it in the theater. Unfortunately, it wasn't playing nearby, but I did rent it and watch it.
I caught it on cable. And I don't know if it was because beforehand, I had watched The Raid,
which
has a very similar premise, and I think is a better movie. And then I watched Dredd, and I was kind of underwhelmed by it.
Huh.
Like, I was like, oh, I mean, it was okay. I didn't dislike it. I think it has a big pacing problem, which has always turned me off of it. Which, it's so gory and violent, you'd think I'd love it, but there's a lot of slow parts to this movie that kind of...
there's this drug everybody.
Yeah, it's a drug.
Well, there's long parts of them just like talking and standing around too. Like, it just doesn't quite capture me. Like, I like the essence of it. I like the mood it's going for. I really like the visuals. Especially the second time watching it, I was like, it's gotten higher in my opinion on the second watching.
That bathtub scene is incredible.
It's gotten higher in my opinion, but I'm still not like, crazy about it. But I can definitely see why people would love it though.
Oh, surely.
I got this on bootleg DVD. I watched it and then I went out, and as soon as I could, I bought the real copy of it.
That's telling. That's an endorsement.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So I should explain where the character's coming from, and because people talking about how much the 95 one got it wrong, and how much this one got it right.
One of the questions I have is why is there only 5 stars on the American flag?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because in this universe there are only 5 states. Mega City 1, the one that this movie takes place in, and the one that Dredd patrols, is ostensibly the entire eastern seaboard. It stretches from Boston down to Atlanta in the comics.
That's a big fucking state.
Yeah, well, because post
big fucking city.
There's 800 million people that he has to keep track of while he rolls around. That's why he just shoots. He's like, look, I don't have time. I got to get across town.
Look, that many people, you're going to end up shooting somebody who's guilty.
Yeah, you're bound to get a couple of them right. But was it Mega City 2 is Los Angeles, the West Coast. Mega City 3 is just called Texas because they're Texas and they're not going to call themselves Mega City 3.
That tracks, yeah.
Because they can't be number 1.
And so, this entire universe takes place, as we alluded to earlier, in a post-apocalyptic society after World War III. Everything's an irradiated wasteland except for certain parts of the world where they built big walls, big shields for the radiation, and those became the megacities. So the new American flag you see is representative of the 5 megacities, I think it's 5 or 6 in the comics, that are still around, that everyone kind of got shoved into.
So there's a United States government, it's just different.
Yes. It's just different. In the post-nuke society, they had to come up with new ways of policing people, especially with everyone crammed together in these cities now. Too many people crammed everywhere, and everything kind of went more fascist. And that was what the original creator wanted to talk about ostensibly. Like I said, this guy John Wagner, he was this American living in England. He had watched Dirty Harry, and he wanted to do a Harry Callahan type hard-dicked super cop character for 2000 AD. And he pitched them this idea. He's like, and it's in the near future. And he described what he wanted to do with the character. And he was like, it's this guy and he wears black leather head to toe. And, and he's this, he wanted to use this character to kind of satirize and criticize the American policing system from across the pond in England.
You can tell he's an expat.
Yeah, everything about this, and they thought it was great. They were like, "Great, let's hand this over to the artist." The artist is this Spanish guy named Carlos Esquerra, who actually lived under fascism. He lived under Franco, and Wagner sent him, all the details he wanted to design the character and the universe he lives in, and he told him he wanted to base this off of Frankenstein from Death Race 2000.
Perfect. Yep.
Wow.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Skinny dude in a black leather outfit wearing a helmet, And but the thing with Carlos Esquerra, though, like I said, he had actual experience living under hard-dicked fascism, and so when he was designing the character, he started adding stuff. And so, now he had these chunky, fucking, jack boots, and we're adding chains and big shoulder pads and everything. And the end result ends, if you've ever seen a picture of comic book Dredd, is this fucking linebacker wearing, big gold armor.
Yeah,
that's what I always picture.
And that's typically how Dredd looks. And then when he designed the universe that it exists in, he threw it way too far in the future. He was going for like that Blade Runner, Philip K. Dick cyberpunk shit. And so Wagner's like, what the fuck? This is not at all what I had in mind. And he left the project. And so they went on without him. And after about a year, they started picking up steam, and he was reading it the whole time and was like, actually, you know what, guys? I can work with this. Why don't I come back?
Did they accept him back?
They absolutely did. And he's sort of the godfather of all of this, because he still writes those stories to this day.
That kind of reminds me of the writer of the Witcher books. Once The Witcher 3 became huge, he rescinded his rights to be paid for the video games. But once Witcher 3 hit huge, he was like, you know what? Pay me. And there's been like this big lawsuit over it.
Wow. But I think it's cool that they welcomed him back, though. They're like, it was your idea. And to be fair, he was like, look, I was wrong. Like, the changes you guys made, this actually kind of slaps. I'm enjoying this. Like, and I got ideas.
That's something.
And that's how he started the universe building.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And so, we talked about the 95 thing. That sucked.
Let me answer this, Bobby, real quick.
Yeah.
The thing I always got with Judge Dredd is this is like almost like a Fight Club, that some people are reading it, not getting it.
Yeah.
It's just like Punisher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's sort of this interesting, I think it's because of the tonal choices that they made, is that they created, it is way too subtle, as most lefty shit ends up being. But it was an interesting choice I found, and one thing that I find really fascinating about the character is that the universe is ridiculous. The universe is where the satire is found. Mm-hmm. But our main character is just a by-the-book cop trying to do his job. And he's very brutal in his means, but like, I like the idea that they're kind of examining what it would mean to be a good guy when society has gone bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Henry David Thoreau, a just man in an unjust society must be a criminal.
Absolutely. And I think because of that, a lot of people get the wrong takeaways here. That they're like, no, dude, this rules. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. Like, no.
Oh, yeah. Right. You save all this money on the judicial system. You don't have to get any lawyers involved in it. Yeah.
And the character content. Yeah.
Oh, I was agreeing that was a right-wing thing they love is vigilante, and this is pretty much vigilante justice.
I mean, it's the greatest right-wing fantasy, right? Like, on the spot, a cop can decide, whether or not he's allowed to kill you.
Yep.
And then he does in creative ways.
Except for one person, because 99% isn't good enough.
Right. But and then the character stuff, as we kind of see in this movie, again, done very subtly, is that the arc of the character of Dredd is that he kind of learns humanity over time, and he learns nuance to his policing.
I know now why you cry.
Yeah.
But I can't.
And they don't touch on this in the movies, in this movie, but one of the issues with Dredd is that he had no childhood, and he doesn't have any friends or family because he was actually created in a lab.
Maybe it's because of Carl Urban, but I kept thinking of Homelander from The Boys.
I can see that.
I was like, man, Homelander should show up in this.
I think he looks better in this costume than Stallone did.
Oh, by
fuck
far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this
Stallone only had the mask on for 30 seconds anyway.
Oh my
that
God,
was a big thing with him, because in the comics, he never takes off the helmet.
I remember that. I remember people lost their shit about that movie because he took off his helmet.
Because Dredd's not supposed to have a character. He's a straight man surrounded by the bananas, and he's supposed to represent the uncaring, faceless, entity of justice. Sort of like when he says "I am the law," he means that shit literally. Like, I am not even a person. I am just the enforcement of the law, walking around with a gun.
I don't know if this is true or not, but my husband was reading me some trivia about this movie, and he said that Carl Urban was so adamant that the character always be correct that he was method the entire time, and he's never a method actor, but he only was method for Dredd.
And my understanding is it was not in the way you usually hear method acting, like where this is my excuse to be a dick to everybody.
Right, yeah. I was going to say.
But he did it kind of as a gag, because apparently on set, like, everyone would constantly try to crack him. You know, like, and like at the end of the day, he'd take off the helmet and go back to being Carl. It wasn't like every time you see me, I'm Dredd.
If they were taking breaks, he would never break character.
Yeah, but if I'm on set and I'm in costume, I'm Joseph Dredd.
Like, I didn't know he had a first name.
Oh yeah, he does. He's Joe Dredd.
Joe Dredd.
JD to his friend.
And he's a clone of the first ever judge. And so, in this universe, folks at home, judges are like law monks. They, or Jedi, if you will.
Sweet.
When they get off the clock, they go back to their tiny living quarters and they study the law.
Like, nope, never mind.
There's no personal life.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, fuck that.
And that's
no
that's
book
why
deals, no vacations paid.
Nothing.
No,
it's just like that's it, because that's your whole life. You enforce the law. You are the law. And so we got through the 95 thing, because obviously Stallone's like, well, I'm not going to keep this helmet on. Like, fuck that. He also took off the pads. Like, nothing. He was just making Demolition Man 2. You think, Stallone would be buttered and fucked before you'd see him reading a goddamn comic book. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. That's not
He's like,
happen.
I don't care who this character is. I'm just going to play it as Sly Stallone.
Yeah.
And so it was important to have it come back and try and do a respectful to the source material version, and that's what Alex Garland wanted to do. Surprise, motherfuckers! This is an Alex Garland movie.
Yep, yeah. I did not know that. And then my husband, is reading trivia. And did you want to tell the story about like the director?
Oh, Pete Travis.
And Alex Garland.
So Alex Garland
really directed this movie
for the listeners.
A poltergeist situation.
Yep.
What was best known for 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, and most recently Men. So.
Oh man, Arrival is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. Love that fucking movie.
So good. I'm a big Alex Garland fan.
Me too.
So much of the behind the scenes on this was just a back and forth butting of heads between Alex Garland, Pete Travis, and the producers. In an interview, Carl Urban said, much like a poltergeist situation, Carl Urban has gone on record saying, like, dude, Alex Garland made this movie.
And you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, once you see the other movies he's made, like Annihilation, and then you look at Dredd, and you're like, I see the roots of Annihilation in this movie.
100%. Yeah. This is right in his wheelhouse. Ex Machina too. Like,
I didn't see much from Pete Travis's history. The only thing I got from him was Vantage Point and The Gunman.
And I liked Vantage Point just fine. That was all right.
Yeah.
It was like the last good Dennis Quaid movie.
Yeah, I think you're right with that.
Wow, that must be an old movie.
I think it's like 2008, something like that.
It's a while ago, Tim. You're not wrong.
But it was decent. But the thing is, like, what was it? Pete Travis got removed from the project ostensibly. Like, when they came back for reshoots, Alex Garland did those. And Alex Garland oversaw the post-production.
And he never did PR for the movie because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And so really, Alex Garland handled everything. He was there the whole time. It was all his input. He took over personally by the end of it. But they still gave Pete Travis his credit at the end of it. But it's his movie. Alex Garland even had his own composers do an entire score for this movie that the producers scrapped.
Wow.
Yeah, that was another reason I was like sat up straighter watching this movie. I was like, Alex Garland made this movie? I was like, I'm seeing this in a new light now.
As far as that music goes, he had his, who would go on to be his usual team, Ben Salisbury and Jeff Barrow from Portishead. The two of them working together, they went on to do pretty much every Alex Garland movie after this. They did Annihilation, they did Men, they did Ex Machina. But what they ended up doing for this movie initially was this like dope throwback lo-fi synth score that felt like Escape from New York. Like they recreated old Carpenter.
Wow.
You can get it actually.
I bet Bobby has it on vinyl.
I absolutely do, Tim.
I know you did. As soon as you said, especially when you said, "Oh, they didn't even use it for the movie," I was like, "He's got it."
See, when you get to call out that you have it on vinyl, it's something good, like the originally intended soundtrack for Dredd. When I call it out, it's fucking The Return of Bruno.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, come on, you got to get that live feeling.
And so, to be fair, though, the replacement score that because the producers wanted something more modern, something that felt because why are we doing a throwback score on a future movie? That doesn't make any sense. But it does in context, absolutely. Yeah. It makes perfect sense to nerds like us, but like to John Q, who they're trying to sell a ticket to, like that might be kind of weird that we're just kind of dicking around on a synthesizer. Who do they think
this audience was for? This is
right.
This isn't like this isn't a Spider-Man or a Superman movie. This is fucking Judge Dredd. And it's not even called Judge Dredd, it's just Dredd.
Yeah.
So if you're not even in on it, you don't even fucking know what it's supposed to be.
Like, they should have just embraced it. They already knew going into it, you only have the hardcores here, man.
Yep.
Like, average person ain't going to this movie. And they didn't.
Plus, it was probably, maybe at that time, one of the only R-rated superhero movies?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like I said, the 95 one was supposed to be, but then now they're finally getting back to it. So anyway, if anyone's interested in hearing the original score, because the replacement score is dope. I have that on vinyl too. It's great.
What's your phone number, Bobby? Put it out there so everybody can just call.
Yeah, if anyone wants a copy, I'm ripping them. The two of them ended up releasing it as a solo album under the band name Drokk, Drokk, which in the world of Dredd, it means fuck! Which is their reaction to not getting to use the movie.
Okay, I like that.
But so if you look up Drokk, you could find that album, and that is the unused score for Dredd. It's dope. And the word Drokk is all through the comics, and they even wrote it on the back of a van in the opening scene. So that brings me to specifically why I chose it for your horror podcast, friends.
Why would you choose this one for Hard Dicked Action Month?
Well, one, it's a very hard dicked action movie. No one will argue that. But two, the reason specifically I wanted to bring it to the bloody bits was, folks, this was supposed to be a horror movie.
How?
Well,
I know it's like super gory, but I don't see the horror.
Well, you see,
they're all zombies.
You know, Superman has Lex Luthor, Batman has the Joker, Dredd's got an arch nemesis too, and that was originally supposed to be the villain of this story.
Oh, so he has his arch enemy, his number one nemesis.
And let me tell you a little bit his arch enemy.
Decision with going with this just a drug gang.
The thing is, it was a smart idea because you needed to reintroduce the character. We needed to do something small, and then as the trilogy would progress, we'd keep pulling back and showing more of this world and more of how insane everything around him actually is, because it ain't just drug running. His arch nemesis is a man named Sidney Doth, who was this D''ATH, so it's like Daath. And Sidney Doth was this like violent sociopath wackadoo, who somehow, despite being nuttier than a Mr. Goodbar, he was able to pass all the training and psych evaluations to become a judge. Ha ha! Subtext.
That's pretty good.
And he wanted to do this so that he could kill people with impunity. And so,
that tracks.
Dude, I can legally be a serial killer if I just become one of these fucking judges. Let's do it. And so he does. And he ends up forming one of those cop gangs. You've heard of those, right, guys?
You mean the police? Yeah.
Oh, this is prescient.
But like those ones within the police where like they all have the matching tattoos and, you know, they're keeping track of their body counts and shit like that. So he forms one of those.
They wear long sleeve shirts, yeah.
Now here's where this becomes a real horror movie, guys. Along the way in the comics, Sidney and his boys come across some practitioners of the occult. And much like in the film Psychomania, which came out around the same time these comics were first being written, these witches give him the opportunity to be reborn unkillable, so that no one can stop you from killing everybody you want to, and he ends up turning into the character Judge Death.
Oh, well, it's a good name for the unkillable, I suppose.
Absolutely. And the image is one of those things, like Ghost Rider, it's one of those where, like, that image is so fucking popular that everyone embraced this character. So take a judge, the usual outfit, make him very emaciated. Like, Unforgiven video emaciated. Pull his mouth back into, like, a rictus snarl, like, exposing his teeth and shit.
Oh, that sounds cool.
The visor has, like, prison bars on it.
That's
interesting.
So cool.
He's got like a sweet ass Danzig skull belt buckle on, and instead of the eagle on his shoulder, it's like a skeleton of a bat.
Oh, this dude sounds awesome.
Yeah. And so Judge Death and the Dark Judges start running around, taking everybody out. That was originally what this movie was going to be about, but the producers were like, hold on, dude, we got to like introduce this shit first.
Yeah.
We can't just drop this straight into that.
If you suddenly dropped me in a cyberpunk future and then put witchcraft in it, I would be very confused.
And like, that goes hard as fuck, but I'm going to need a little context first.
Oh yeah,
cyberpunk witchcraft movie. Fuck yeah, exactly. Like, how can we possibly explain all this in a satisfying way with only 90 minutes? And so the plan was after this. This movie was the introduction. They went. We have a low budget. We don't really know what we're doing yet, so we're going to do a day in the life of Dredd to get an idea of what this world feels like. Part 2,
smart.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rare that I agree with the suits, but they were right. Part 2, we were going to pull the camera back a little bit, and we were going to get a story about block riots. So Mega City 1 is rioting, and we have a bunch of Deadites running around.
Yeah.
So it's a mix. It ends up being a mix of The Purge and Evil Dead Rise.
Interesting.
Which would have been part 2. Part 3, we pull back even further. We go over the wall into the irradiated area, and part 3 ends up being basically like Mad Max meets Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, interesting.
So it turns into a horror series almost immediately after this movie. I kind of get that,
because kind of like from this viewing of it, I almost got a feeling like Wreck for a minute. You know what I mean? With the big lockdown tower and the threats all coming after you. Like when they get to the point where it's just open season on judges in that tower. It's pretty much what's going on.
Shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting when that does happen. But yeah, the problems that this movie faced that made it not work out were, like you mentioned, Candice, The Raid had just been out. And it's the same movie. This is a Dante's Peak situation. This happens so often. Across the world, someone else was like, what if we do like Game of Death?
Yeah.
What if we do Streets of Rage? And just, do our movie that way with a cop. And so it's like, we already had a better version of this exact storyline being told. And this movie came out the same weekend as End of Watch. And so anyone who wants to go watch a cop movie, they're going to go see the big budget Jake Gyllenhaal mainstream one that's like propaganda, sis Pumbaa, the cops are heroes.
Yeah.
Over the comic book movie based on, that they remember from the Stallone film.
Man, just the complete and utter lack of luck, man.
Yeah.
Coming in right at the ass end of 3D. Like, I'll bet you a pretty sizable chunk of their budget was dedicated to that.
I feel like it also really affected Carl Urban's career as well. Because he was, like, as far as in movies, he was always a supporting character, but he always shone in, like, these big budget movies.
Yeah.
And then so any of the movies where he was the leading man, they all bombed.
And that's kind of why I think Dredd works so well with him. He's a character actor. He's not the main guy. Like, he's not meant to be the main guy. That's why he's a great McCoy in Star Trek. I said
that Dredd was a long forward descendant of Billy the Butcher.
Yeah.
They are related in that sense. But yeah, that's what works about Dredd, though, is like he's the secondary character to somebody else. That's why you needed Judge Anderson,
right?
Who's the heart and soul of this movie, who also, by the way, came from that Judge Death storyline. She's the one who stops Judge Death with her superpowers. That's how she ended up in this movie.
Well, that's true. I guess if they're psychic, it's not too far off to say there's magic.
I mean, in the comics, she traps him in her mind and then willfully gets herself entombed so that he can never come out again.
Damn.
Tragic.
Yeah, super tragic. It's comics, though. Everybody comes back. But... Yeah. But it's this like heroic sacrifice thing. But they're like, well, Anderson wasn't in the 95 one, and that's one of the most significant characters next to Dredd. We got to get her.
Oh man, come on! We could have seen Bridget Nelson play fucking Anderson.
If they put her in,
that's true.
That'd be awesome.
Don't put a fucking helmet on her. Do you see this hair?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. They just have to shape her hair like the helmet.
No, she has a helmet on, and he's like, no, you got to take that shit off. She's like, what if I get shot in the head? He's like, just take the helmet off.
Yeah. Look, don't worry about it. Yeah. But, by the way, Anderson, Olivia Thirlby. Excuse me. She was in Juno and Oppenheimer.
Oh man. Shit.
Yeah,
reprising her role as Judge Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was fantastic in this, and having her as like
Anne Hathaway a little bit.
She's got that thing where she doesn't close her mouth. Like, it's very rare to see her mouth completely closed. She's got that Ali Larder thing going on.
She was good for the moral center of this.
She was very sincere. You believed her.
Yeah. And you need her to, humanize Dredd by the end of the film.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be a little upset with the carnage that they're doing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And plus,
moral
like,
center.
just from a storytelling perspective, having the newbie is always good because then you can explain to the audience, well, here's how this works. Well, here's what's going on here.
You want a character that goes, so what's this universe I'm in?
Yeah. Wait a minute. What are these guns that we're using? Because they're crazy. Oh, let me tell.
Yeah.
No.
And that's one of the best bits of satire that they do throughout this. Like I said, the universe is satire and it's all done subtly. But like the biggest thing that you notice is like the average person's got dirt on their face, but the cops have super bikes and sci-fi guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they live in the Hall of Justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone call the Super Friends.
I didn't mean to talk over you, Eddie. You were saying?
No worries, man. So yeah, it just, like I was saying, it just sucks because it just seems like everything was stacked up against them, you know?
Could not catch a break.
Yeah, you really couldn't. And it's terrible because it was a fantastic movie, you know? And God, if only we could have gotten those other two, you know?
Well, there's still hope for the TV show.
Yeah, so I was reading about that Carl Urban was, he signed on to it immediately, and I guess we haven't really heard anything from it.
Well, with COVID and a writer's strike, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Especially for a TV series. I mean, I could see that getting picked up by streaming immediately.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, look at Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon would snatch it up quick.
Yeah. They've already got him with The Boys. Like, dude, that's a 1-2 punch right there.
And honestly, him doing Netflix, The Boys may have helped.
Oh, totally agree there. Yeah.
Like I got 4 seasons into this other violent action show based on comics.
Yep.
I think the next thing that I saw him in was that fucking Thor movie where he's playing that fucking guy who controls the bridge.
Yeah, he didn't really do a ton of big stuff after this until The Boys. I think that was what.
No, he's always a side character.
Right. This fucked up his career a little bit.
Well, another big thing about him is apparently he's a Kiwi. He lives in New Zealand with his family, and he doesn't want to relocate. So
that'd be difficult.
That affects the trajectory of.
That'll limit it.
He's kind of happy where he's at, you know, and I respect that. He's like, I got enough money. I'm just going to hang out here with my folks and do stuff that sounds fun.
Don't blame him.
Yep. So I guess the only other cast members I'd want to call out here is Lena Headey, who plays Mama. She was, of course, Cersei in Game of Thrones.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
You might remember her from.
You might remember her from the 300.
Yep. And The Purge.
Oh, yeah. I forgot she was in that.
This shit's right in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, definitely. Then I've just got here some background stuff. The budget on this was about $40 million, but of course there was a bunch of marketing mishandling that was done.
God damn it.
And yeah, they just didn't really do well. Made about the same amount back in theaters. So that's a loss.
When I rented it on bootleg, I was like, whatever. It cost $1.50. Why not? And I was really pleasantly surprised with it.
Yep. So, that's about it for the background that I've got there. Bobby, if you got anything else you want to initiate us to before we begin?
I had down. I think we're ready to start our assessment.
I think we're ready to get assessed because we begin with some intro narration by Mr. Urban himself. And thankfully, rather than the text scroll, because he's got the voice for it. You know, that nice gravelly, weathered. Sounds fantastic.
And he's got a very craggy...
by Harry Callahan, so he has to do it Eastwood style.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got to have that like craggy, rugged look to his face as well. Like he's seen some shit.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, guys, we said this is a 3D movie. This is a 3D-ass 3D movie.
Yes, it is.
Because there are several cuts, several scenes when it's like, okay, I know what's going on. And that's always rough, man. Some movies handle it well. This one did a little bit better than, say, what was that fucking Resident Evil that was 3D?
Oh, God.
Which one was that?
I just remember Dickhead throwing his sunglasses at the fucking camera, and I was like, I'm done.
That's Mission Impossible.
That's not Mission Impossible.
Or Clash of the Titans was in 3D.
Or, My Bloody Valentine.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, that one was pretty egregious.
We're throwing the pickaxe at the screen.
Yeah. So we get the intro narration that, as you said, we're in a Mad Max setup. Everything's been nuked. There's about 800 million people living in Mega City 1, which spans the eastern seaboard.
I was like, that's a big fucking city. That was just my only note.
Well, it's a mega city.
How that got built after nuclear war, but all right.
Well... clearly it wasn't Trump in charge because the wall got built.
And it worked.
Yep.
And it worked, yeah. So we open up on a car chase where there's a bunch of dudes that are vaping bathwater.
does look that way. I got a comment on the cars, though, like, real quick. Cause,
it's like the nastiest fucking bong water, right?
It looks like the water the kid was taking a bath in Gummo.
Don't talk about that movie.
It's funny. I'd seen
the cover, and I know that fucking guy, and that's enough.
The kid with the hair. I accidentally drank water that looked like this once. I was in basketball practice in high school, and there was something wrong with the pipes, and I didn't notice. Sometimes you're wheezing, you're sucking wind, and I went over to the water fountain, and the water started tasting funny. I looked down, it looked like slow-mo. I was like, no. But the thing about these cars is interesting to me because, the Dredd universe, the comic started in 2099 in the canon of the show or of the series, and moves on past that. I think we're in like 2120 or something by the time this movie is telling its story. Okay, because Dredd's not a rookie. Dredd's been at this for like 2 decades at this point. He's the old grizzled guy, just like Judge Lex, who we meet later, and they're rolling around in this like late 80s van. Yeah. Which, to put that into context, imagine someone running from the cops right now in a Model T.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, I gotta crank it.
It's true, but it's that like that mixture of like kind of retro. It's like what we thought the future looked like in the 80s.
Yeah, the retrofuturism.
Yeah, and I love that shit. And I think this movie really captures it with little touches like that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So Dredd is up on his fucking bike with the craziest front fairings, by the way, ever.
This thing's called a Lawmaster.
Of course. Yeah.
It's good when you see a cop or anybody chasing a car when they're on a motorcycle. All you have to do is slam your brakes on.
Yeah.
Dredd flies through the back window and out the windshield.
If we're going to take it from, erratic driving to murdering a police officer, sure, Tim. You're right. You could.
Once the cop starts shooting at you, right? You're in for it.
That's fair. So, yeah,
and
but
as
Dredd
a nerd watching this, who'd read a bunch of Dredd comics from the years leading up to it, seeing the word Drock scribbled on the back of the van, I knew I was in good hands. I was like, somebody here knows what they're doing.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're actually, I guess, freebasing slow-mo, which we learn is a drug that, when taken, slows everything down, at least in your perception, to 1% speed. So it's the Max Payne drug.
It's called marijuana.
Right, but... Yeah,
it's concentrated bong water,
and it seems to do nothing super harmful. It just kind of makes everything look pretty cool for a minute. But in this world, they've outlawed so many things. This is a universe in which sugar and caffeine are illegal substances.
Yeah.
Damn.
So slow-mo's right the fuck out.
Jeez.
You're happy? Fuck that.
Yeah, basically.
It seems like it could be fun, but immediately I just beat off.
Slowly.
Like right in front of him, like make eye contact the whole time?
Like right as you're about to bust, then you hit the slow-mo.
That's when you take the hit, yeah.
I was going to say, well, you don't want to hit the slow-mo first because you're not going to realize how fast you're going.
You're either going really slow or really fast.
You're starting a fire down there.
It's got to be a crazy feeling, though, because you're looking down, it's going really slow, but the feeling is like it's going like a fucking million miles an hour.
You're just screaming while you machine gun your red dick.
And you can just watch it fly through the air. Just little glittery jism globules floating.
Yeah, it looks like the jism from Annihilation.
That's what created that force field. That was all just slow-mo jizz.
You think that Annihilation was just a bunch of slow-mo loads?
That's it. Oh, man. They all congealed together in midair.
That thing.
I did not like these slow-mo scenes the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, I was high. I was like, you know what? Go. I love these scenes. These scenes are great.
The first time I watched it, I was high, and I was like, I love this. Yeah, this is the best. I was like, Zack Snyder, this is how you do slow mo.
Yeah.
That's true. Very true.
And I think it helps the action scenes.
Totally.
It kind of creates a heightened reality. It creates a bit of
it makes you feel the visceral nature of the injury more.
But at the same time, less, I feel. Because, if I'm watching someone get shot in the head 3 times, but it's being done all sparkly and slow motion, I'm like, okay, that's not as upsetting as if it looked real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Helps to kind of normalize the over-the-top violence.
It's such a unique touch.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and you'd think like the easiest solution then is, okay, well, obviously Dredd's going to need to use it at the end to go bullet time or whatever, but they don't do it.
They don't, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, they didn't.
Well, because you're
not
actually moving slowing down. Yeah, you just think you are.
Yeah, that's
Dredd would never.
I just thought about this right now. In the back of that van, that one guy, he just takes a hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then the guy in the front turns around and goes, "We got a judge on us," and he like snaps out of it, right? He's still not in that slow mo thing.
Yeah.
But later on,
it's consensual
when those
slow-mo.
3 people get thrown off the thing.
Oh yeah.
Why aren't they able to snap the fuck out of it?
We don't know if they did.
That's true. They really weren't around to report after the fact.
We asked them; they didn't say anything.
Yeah, they lifted up that sheet. Hey, dude, did it stop right before you hit?
That looked amazing.
Please tell me there's a cut where that mother didn't get out of the way.
I mean, it would totally fit that universe if she hadn't. Because because this so far at this point, it's a misdemeanor pursuit. These guys are going to go to the ISO cubes if he locks them up. But what happens?
Well, then what happens is they end up doing a hit and run on an innocent person.
They do, and we filled like a dummy with jelly, and then
it popped.
Yeah, this dude
it was
splatters.
so good.
And I think right here, this is where this movie tells you this is the kind of movie it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When they do something like that in the first 3 minutes of the fucking movie, and just how visceral it is with him smashing into that fucking window and it's spidering.
Oh yeah, it totally set the expectations. So they now
no
he's
concern from Dredd either about the person's well-being.
Nope.
It's just like, I'm killing him now.
And furthermore, no concern by all the bystanders as well. Like
they see this all the time.
Yep. Because this is just to let you know that in this universe, this kind of brutality is just day to day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this movie is a day in the life. Just another day at the office for Judge Dredd, and people are getting popped like balloons.
Did this movie make anybody else want to play Cyberpunk?
You know what? There's supposed to be a big update coming out for it.
I was just going to say, I think I got an update for it on my Xbox. But it's one of those things where it's like, I just got a 6 to 8 fucking gig update.
It just made me...
And like 3 weeks later, here's another 38 gigs. So
it just made... done? It just made me wish I had slow-mo for when I'm fucking trying to bat on MLB The Show.
You'll never miss.
Yeah, I keep fucking that up. I've been trying with edibles, but it doesn't help, strangely.
With your reflexes?
Yeah, with my reflexes and hand-eye coordination. It's not as good.
So you got somebody pitching
Mario
Randy
Kart.
Johnson to you, a 99 diamond car that in real money costs $100 to buy.
That's so stupid.
Anybody who bought card right now that's 500, almost 600,000 stubs, and 150,000 stubs cost $50 in real money.
If anybody's listening to this podcast and you do that, just go stick your head in the toilet. Just join Jordan Peterson.
We talked about this last week. There's fucking people who are paying people to grind out the accounts.
Yeah, you're right. People are insane.
I mean, people have been paying people to grind for millennia.
Yeah, hell, back in the day, they didn't even pay them. They just beat them.
Pretty sure it's called the oldest
profession.
Hey,
no. It taught them some good skills, so it was okay.
I haven't paid someone to grind since my friend's bachelor party.
Hey, oh, man. So,
very nice lady. She had leopard spot tattoos.
Unique.
That's nice. Yeah. But you always got to figure out where you're going to begin and end with leopard spot tattoos. I think that's the trickiest part.
Yeah. Without just like a splotch.
Right. Or you got to go full bore, or you got to do I don't know, something that clothes are going to kind of cover a little. Yeah. So anyhow, they pop this dude like a fucking balloon. Then Dredd's like, okay, time to use lethal force because they killed somebody. So I'm just going to go fucking murder these people.
And Control back at the Hall of Justice, like, sounds good, Dredd.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Nope, that's okay.
Yeah, I love that part. Do you require backup? He's like, no.
Nope, I got it. So he shoots the tires out of the van. It flips. They're dead. I mean, they're dead in this upside down fucking van.
But I love that Control he was showing a moment prior, because you didn't realize how in control of this situation he was until they murdered somebody and he was allowed to use lethal force.
Right.
Because immediately the van's in the air.
Exactly. It's like, he could have done this the whole fucking time. He was just playing nice,
He's got to follow the rules, man.
Got to follow the rules. Exactly. So, yeah, they're fucking dead. But he goes over to check on him. One of the dudes is not. One of the dudes pops out of the van, runs off, right? And grabs himself a hostage. So we've got a
killed a couple people in the mall and then grabbed a lady.
Yep, just grabbed her.
Like RoboCop.
Yep.
Yeah, but instead of shooting him in the dick, no, Dredd just pulls the gun on him and says, all right, you got two choices here, life sentence or death.
At this point, don't you give up, because in this world, you got to know what the judges are like. You got to know that taking a fucking hostage isn't going to work.
Yeah, that's very true.
He was desperate, Tim.
Yeah.
You got to try something. I don't think he could reach Dredd's asshole with his finger.
That slow-mo, yeah.
That probably didn't help. He wasn't thinking very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. Wasn't his quickest thinking, that's for sure. So he's like, look, dude, you got no fucking leverage over me. I'm holding on to the hostage. The Dredd's like, yeah, okay, whatever, hot shot. He's like, what?
This isn't a negotiation, hot shot.
Yeah, I said hot shot. And then his gun clicks over to one of the multiple firing modes and launches like a fucking flare.
This made me want a Judge Dredd video game so bad.
It was on the Sega Genesis.
Well, like, with modern graphics. Come on.
Yeah, but you have to play as Rob Schneider.
The fact that he has a gun, one gun, that he can put multiple ammo in and just trigger it. Gun. Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
And they came up with that shit in 1977.
That rules.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, Mad Max came out in 79. Just saying, George.
Fair point.
A leather-clad dystopian super cop? Okay.
Yeah.
2 years after this character hit, huh? All right.
And it looks so good when the dude's just got a flare burning in his mouth.
Oh, God, his whole head's glowing like a jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, and then it just starts
that little
burning.
puff of smoke that comes out of the back of the fucking head is chef's kiss.
Oh, absolutely.
So nice.
And then we do kind of a RoboCop thing here, because the woman is like, through her tears, she's thanking him for saving her life. And he looks at her for a second and then just turns and walks away.
Yeah.
Like, he says nothing to her.
Yeah, we're done
that's
here.
Literally not why I was here. So
it just shows how efficient he is.
Yeah.
And then we get a real quick line here from them about the bodies being ready for recycling.
Yeah, recycle. That's how little they care about human life. They're just like, well, recycle it into some kind of material. We're going to sell it as cheeseburgers later.
Right, yeah, food.
And I love that the cleaning robots at the mall were like, the mall will reopen in 30 minutes. Thank you for your patience as they're mopping up blood.
People are still pissed off, though, even though they don't have any money to fucking spend in the mall.
Yeah, this is a squad of fucking murder Roombas going out there cleaning up all the blood.
The chopping mall robots roll in.
Yeah. So then we cut to, soon to be Judge Anderson. She's getting assigned to Dredd for evaluation. She's trying to become a judge, and unfortunately, her test scores not so great. She was 3% under passing.
And Dredd is like, well, what the hell are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Well, but Bobby, she got that special secret sauce going on.
Yeah, this should count for at least 5 points on your test.
Yeah, no kidding.
Psychic we've ever come across.
Yeah. So, and we learned that her psychic abilities in this universe, we are told, come from her living so close to the wall that
she's a mutant.
Yeah, the radiation mutated her to have that ability.
There's even, much like the X-Men stories, there's even like anti-mutant graffiti in some of the background.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, I saw a mutie.
Yeah, muties go home or stuff like that.
Everybody's like, she's a mutant, and what is she doing being a judge? Like, clearly mutants are like the lowest of the low.
And in the comics, Dredd is bigoted toward mutants. He doesn't like mutants or robots, and he has to like learn to trust her.
Huh.
He probably pronounced it robots.
Yeah.
It's just a robot funny. With the hard R.
Yeah. That's our word, motherfucker. No, so, but it's so true, right? Like in any scenario, if there's just any class of people who are born slightly differently, it's just like, oh, we hate them. Clearly, they're not us, especially law enforcement. So now we cut to Mama having a nice little bath. And this scene with the slow-mo that she's taking while she's taking the bath and splashing the water up and just kind of watching it while we get the background on her, that she was previously a sex worker whose pimp cut her face up, so she castrated him with her teeth.
Absolutely.
And then took shit over, used his...
It looks good with that fucking scar.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's... And, very well cast in this role. Absolutely.
She looks like she could murder babies in front of their mothers.
Mm-hmm. It's all in the eyes, man. She looks
brutal. Because she's not, and this is what I love about her as this villain, is she's not like over the top psycho crazy like the Joker or something like that. No, she's very subdued. Yeah. She's actually soft spoken.
Pulling a gun out and shooting somebody in the head for no reason and go, "Oh, he brought me my coffee and it was too cold."
She doesn't do random things like that. She just has this very quiet but like hard as steel menace about her.
Oh, when she smacks that motherfucking guy and everybody else is just like, "Oh shit!" Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or when she has the knife up to Domhnall Gleeson's stomach.
Oof.
Who would win in a fight? Sarah Connor, Furiosa, or Mama?
Furiosa.
Yeah, Furiosa in a fight.
Yeah, because she got that metal arm.
See, because Mama's whole thing is that she's just like taken over. She's got this whole gang working for her.
Mm-hmm. You don't think she's like squirrely in a fight or anything? You don't think she'd fight real?
Oh, I'm sure she's squirrely, but I think Furiosa'd take her.
Yeah,
I mean, the universes are exactly the same outside the wall. Maybe she met Furiosa. How did Furiosa lose that arm anyway?
Oh,
did she get it bit off?
Furiosa's got the robot arm, and she got the grease on her head, so she's slippery.
Biting off an arm, man, that takes some fucking effort. But...
yeah. There you go,
yeah. That's like an afternoon.
That's like, what is it, Ichi the Killer, where that one dude is just yanking on a dude's arm forever? And he's like, I swear I can pull this off. I just pull
fucking
hard.
Kakiara.
And then we come back to him and the arm's on the ground and he's celebrating.
I keep having to remind my wife of the nipple scene in that one, because that's one of the most brutal fucking scenes ever.
Wouldn't even do that in a Dredd movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
it's a great time. Show it.
You should show your son.
What are we doing next week, Candice?
She basically took over control of Peachtree Tower by taking her old pimp's gang, ruling them fucking ruthlessly, and then just having them go kill the other gangs that were in control of portions.
Like top down, which I found a little bit
She
hard.
took over the penthouse and then worked her way down.
But how do you get your guys up to the penthouse to get them down?
They were already up there. They were her pimp's guys. He
was already up there. He just took over.
When she killed the pimp, she told all of his henchmen, like, "You guys work for me now. Let's go."
Yeah, it's like we're watching this episode of Supernatural right now, where this woman moved into their old house, and the house is still and the house is still full of all of their shit from growing up. So, Tim, you know how when you just move into a place, nobody moves anything out.
Right.
Hey, it does happen.
Yeah, so the pimp just left all of his dudes and guns and shit there after she killed him, and she just moved in, took over.
Yeah, all right.
And I love these like warriors gangs that exist here.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
All of her guys have mama tattoos with like hearts that say mama.
Yeah, that's cute. That's a cool move.
One of the gangs, and I don't know, I'm betting that this is maybe from the comic book. They look like judges.
Yeah, those are guys who've done time in the ISO cubes, and then upon getting out, they shave off their hair and their eyebrows, and they tattoo their heads like judge helmets. They call themselves the Judged. They're the baseball furies of this universe.
But
they're all goofs. That's why you only see them for a second in this movie.
Yeah, they don't do too well. So then, I just have the Judge Dredd and Anderson. The deal is that they have to go bust in and check out a drug deal that's going down in this drug den.
Pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, regular, average,
decent
everyday.
One for training day.
Totally. Yeah,
softball it.
And Dredd's going to be evaluating her ability. So he tells her, "Hey, put on your helmet." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that. See, it messes with my psychic abilities."
And they need
he thinks about that for a second and goes, "You'd think a bullet would mess with it too."
Yeah, I feel like it's also probably because they need a character that you can see their face.
Yeah, that helps. So they just go in there during the drug deal, and again, I mean, I know people who, like you said, Tim, would watch this and not get the satire of it. But I think it's pretty overt when they're like, okay, they're committing a drug deal. Drugs are outlawed. They're deadly. So we're authorized to just go in there and fucking mow everybody down in cold blood.
Yeah. Everything's a death sentence.
I should clarify one thing, though.
Too subtle.
They're not sent in about the drugs. They're sent in for a triple homicide.
Oh, that's right.
They don't know it's related to the drugs until the coroner notices there's cold burns on a dude's mouth.
Right. So yeah, okay. So part of the message that Mama sent is having 3 dudes skinned,
like the Predator,
dosed with fucking slow-mo, and then thrown out of the fucking
so they can experience the agony.
No, that was Barksdale's idea. To give him the slow-mo.
Yeah, Barksdale said, yeah, give him the slow-mo. She's like, whatever.
She's just, sure.
Yeah, if you want to, have fun.
Yeah. It's really more about sending a message to the other people in the building, but hey, you know what?
You do you. Hang a pirate.
Right, yeah.
This is where I have, it's raining men.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's why Candice was upset her internet went out, because she wasn't going to be able to get that joke.
I'm glad you were able to get that one in.
Thank you.
I love the lack of bounce to these corpses is great.
Yeah, just like a meat sack just falling on the ground.
And when they pull the sheet back, and it's just like
extra,
this weird like skin just flat on the ground like a Looney Tune.
Yeah, and the brains are squirting up from the skull. It looks like cottage cheese.
It's so good, man. So yeah, they're investigating, and yeah, like you said, they notice the telltale sign of somebody doing slow-mo is the cold burn around the mouth.
Oh yeah, this is I finally made the connection I was trying to make earlier. So this is where I saw the roots of Annihilation in this, is because the gore in this, when it's in the slow-mo and you see it like splatter, and you see like, the blood, and then you see the digital effects of the sparkles around it. It's like the combination of the digital and the organic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that he captures so beautifully, and he brings that over into his other movies.
I mean, that's classic Pete Travis, man.
Yeah.
Just like in Vantage Point.
Yep.
Get that Travis feel to it, man.
But one thing I love in this scene too is there's the vagrant, there's the homeless guy sitting on the ground, and Dredd's about to drag his ass off to the ISO cubes for being homeless, but Anderson's like, we need to prioritize. Yeah, he's sitting right in what we end up finding out is a doorway. And Dredd's about to go crack his skull, and Anderson's like, we have to prioritize the homicides, and so he just turns and goes, "Don't be here when I get back."
Yeah.
See, he's fair. He's firm, but he's fair.
Yeah, he's really fair. That's one thing I would definitely call Dredd. Not vindictive.
He's the fairest cop in Mega City 1.
He's firm, fair, and consistent. He's everything you want.
Model employee.
Right. Yeah, you when compared to everybody else, we'll find out. Yeah, he is pretty good.
That's the trick with telling a Dredd story. You just make everyone worse than him.
Yeah,
he's the bad guy. He's the good guy by process of elimination.
Right. You really have to put it all into the context. It's like being the sanest or the craziest guy. It means one thing, but if you're the craziest guy in Arkham, it's like, oh shit, that's a problem. So then they go in to check out this drug den. And this is the point where Dredd, somebody, I like, he just hits the slow-mo. Everything hits that slow motion. And it's our second real big gunfight in the movie. Mm-hmm. And having it done in slow motion looks so fantastic. And it's such an interesting move for a gunfight.
And
the back and forth between slow motion and real time.
Yeah.
And the slow motion is really unique. Like, it doesn't look like your cheesy 300, Zack Schneider type of slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has a real, like, beauty to it, like, real brutal beauty.
When they do the compressed air shot to the actor's stomach, so his entire ripples as the bullet hits him.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, when you can just watch it, get ripped open from the bullets, like you said, with that compressed air, it all looks so good together, man. So, he just goes in there, fucking just wastes their asses, except for one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because Anderson picked something up.
Yeah, her spidey sense is tingling. And it lets her know, hey, that guy right there, he was involved in the skinning that we were just investigating. So, hold on, don't kill this one yet. We can get some info off of him.
And you can see Dredd like almost shaking with anger that he doesn't get to kill this guy. He's like, oh, fine.
She's right.
It's like, damn it. Okay.
When she read Dredd's mind earlier, when the introduction scene, she mentioned like the main thing she was picking up from him was anger and control.
Yeah.
Like he wants to kill all of us, but he's only going to kill the bad guys.
Well, I mean, I don't think she actually read his mind. I think she can't actually read his thoughts, but she can read his emotions. Like, he seems to be very difficult to read.
Well, he never takes the helmet off, and she says that does interfere with her powers.
But it does.
She's getting only partial readings off of him.
But that works against one of the corrupt judges. Like, she immediately read her mind with no problem.
I think part of it with him came from the fact that he's not like a naturally born human being. Like, because he's like a science experiment.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
He doesn't read the same as most people.
Comic books as much as you did, but yeah.
Well, right, because she starts to explain. She's like, "There's anger, control, and a third thing." And before she can even explain it, it gets cut off. It was like, we don't have time for that. We'll talk about that in part 2.
He's horny.
So
he's horny like a motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. That dick is so hard right now. It's got its own helmet.
He can't go to a sex worker because it's against the law. He can't get married.
What's he supposed to do?
Right?
Oh.
Dredd burst in the room and shot him.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. So, they waste everybody except for him. And then the move is like, okay, well, we're going to take him out. We're going to interrogate him. We're going to get the info off of him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, why don't we just use the psychic to do that? What's the point in beating this man and interrogating him to find out what he knows?
Yeah, she shouldn't be a cop. She shouldn't be a judge. She should be back at the fucking precinct.
Being an interrogator?
Cooking and cleaning and interrogating everyone.
Although, she could tell you, like, where everyone is and how many people are in each room before you go into it. That'd be really fucking
That is very handy.
It's very important for this video game world we live in here.
True, yeah. To just be able to like no clip her head through the wall and look in and
she's got that Assassin's Creed vision.
Yeah.
Where you can see through the walls and look at it.
But the thing they never really get into with her in this movie is if we all know she has these powers and we accept that as a given, why do we need to interrogate anybody? Like we just can trust her that she's reading this guy's mind.
Like Minority Report.
Yeah. But can you trust a mutant?
Absolutely not, Tim.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, I
are no good.
I also feel like interrogating is like a rare treat. They're so used to just like killing people.
Oh, I think it's torture. I don't think it's interrogating.
Of course,
I think they're torturing those motherfuckers.
So, like you can put interrogating in quotation marks there.
Yeah, it's beating senseless is really what we're talking about here. So. Unfortunately for them, though, Mama has her fingers in all of the cameras that are installed everywhere here. She's taken the kind of a nerdy guy, I guess, the tech guy.
I said, oh, shit, is that Domhnall Gleeson?
Sure is.
Yeah, but then I doubted myself because he starts talking, and he sounds so different in this movie. And he looks really different with the eyes and stuff. So I was like, "Is that Domhnall Gleeson?"
Because he's got cybernetic eyes, which is fun.
Yeah, and you see why he has them later in the movie.
Yeah, it's a tragic character, really. But
it's sad.
For anyone who doesn't know, Domhnall Gleeson goes on to be in the J.J. Abrams Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, he's General Hux.
I'm the spy.
And
then his eyes dilate
because he got those cybernetic eyes.
Exactly. Should have seen it.
So Mama gets wind of, hey, there's some shit going down here, and one of these judges busted in, and they have one of my guys who might know where all the bodies are buried, so to speak.
And will almost certainly snitch.
Yes.
Like she knows this guy. She's like, it won't take much.
Is he dead? Did he, he's alive? Oh, he's going to talk.
Yeah. So she's like, shit. Okay, well.
Now it's my problem.
We're going to put the building on lockdown, but before we do it, we're going to call the police and be like, hey, we're doing a test of all of our emergency services here. So if you could just not pay any attention to any sort of alarms or, people falling out of the building.
It serves a purpose for the plot.
Make sure, if there's a homeless guy that gets a lawyer from 13 Ghosted, just don't worry about that. Okay? Just, we're fine. Then they
clean up outside. Don't worry.
Yeah. Then they hit the shutters on the building. The big metal shell forms around
protocol.
it. What's that?
It's a war protocol in case there's another shelling or a bombing.
Yeah. So the whole building goes into lockdown,
like the house on Haunted Hill.
Yeah. Or even like the House and 13 Ghosts.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
Which not only grape squishes the homeless guy down on the bottom floor, which is a fun moment, but also trapped a bunch of skaters out on the skate park.
Yep, they're stuck outside on the roof.
On the 45th floor or whatever.
Yeah, their 45th floor patio skate park, which seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, some kid is like doing a 1080 to his death.
Do something to up the ante.
I mean, it'd be a fun level in Tony Hawk, don't get me wrong.
Oh God, the peach trees level? That would go hard as fuck.
At this point, skateboarding's been around for what, 250 years?
This whole time, I was like, oh man, I want a GTA game in Mega City 1.
That's what you want, the open
GTA
world
Mega City
game
1,
where you're going around busting fools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get to be a judge. Yeah.
I mean, and with that universe, you can go over the wall out into the cursed earth.
Oh.
Yeah.
We got cannibal hillbilly cyborgs out there.
Yeah. We need this game.
Jesus.
This game needs to be made.
I mean, the game writes itself at this point. Holy shit.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
We can at least get Carl Urban to voice him in the game.
I'm sure we could manage that.
Yeah.
He'd love to do it.
I'm sure he would. Yeah. Because, I mean, you could tell he's having a blast with this movie, too.
You can see by the smile on his face.
Yeah.
His perpetual grimace.
He's absolutely giddy all through this movie.
Yeah.
At one point, did they put fishing line in his fucking mouth to pull his cheeks all the way down like that?
I remember hearing that like his face would hurt like hell at the end of every day because he just spent like 10 hours pulling a frown.
Damn.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Yeah.
It's like smiling too much.
So Mama hits the intercom. She says, all right, everybody, here's the deal. We're on lockdown. There's 2 judges in the building. I want them dead. So either you need to get out of the way or I'm going to kill you and your next generation, or you can just help and kill those 2 judges. How about that?
Well,
which means it's not just gangbangers.
I'm a single guy, so once you kill me, there's no next generation to kill. What are you talking about?
I guess they'll find your parents then.
We'll find somebody.
Yeah. Find somebody who looks like they could be your kid.
Your favorite barista is fucked.
She was the only one who knew to put the syrup in, then the hot coffee to melt the syrup. So, yeah. Everybody else just put it in cold. Doesn't work. You get globs. It's gross. So, everything's fucking under lockdown. The judges are like, okay, we're in some trouble. Let's radio for backup. Try to radio. Nope. Not going to happen.
Can't go through all that concrete, man.
No, sure can't.
Yeah.
It'll come up later. So then they're like, all right, so we're going to head to the med center, check out what's going on over there. Maybe they got some communications. And sounds good. So they head up toward the med center. And but to get out of where they're in, first he's got and I love this like delivery system where he can just be like, all right, I need a stun grenade. And one pops out of his wrist. Like, sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And these stun grenades are fucking nice, man.
Yeah, and I like how he very gently rolls it. It's very delicate.
Just choomp, rolls it in
I
there.
also thought it was like an echo device. I thought that was where his voice was coming out, like a speaker.
It seemed like it, yeah.
It is edited that way.
Yeah, because he rolls it into the room with like 10 dudes. And he's like, all right, here's the deal. We're coming out in 20 seconds. You're fucked. They're like, well, we'll just shoot you in 10 seconds. He's like, all right, never mind. We're at 5. Thanks for the heads up.
Name that bullet.
And then, the stun grenade goes off, just fucks their shit up, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Then they just pop out and shoot. What was it? 9 of the 10. They leave one left alive.
They keep doing that.
Yeah, but this time, Rookie comes up there, Anderson, and she, pulls out her pistol, points it at him.
Lawgiver.
The Lawgiver. Yeah. What a great name for a gun. Oh, man. Do you
not totalitarian at all.
Do you get the satire, folks?
Is anyone picking up on this? No, you missed it? Okay.
Okay. Stallone missed it.
You out there on somebody's arm about that.
I just love the thought, though, of Stallone in the theater watching Dredd 3D from 2012 and seeming like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't laugh.
Yeah, it's the lawgiver.
His face. What the fuck?
Yeah. Hey, they won. Good.
Who's even playing this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't see his face. This sucks.
No guy has recognizable mouth, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go wait till the Expendables does something or whatever.
Where's the comedy sidekick?
Yeah. Where's Rob Schneider?
Fucking awful that he thought this movie needs that, and then had a part written because every movie was doing that at the time. You know, it's like when Pesci showed up in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
See, at that point, Sylvester Stallone doesn't want anybody taking anything spotlight away from him.
That's so much effort to put Rob Schneider in a movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's
a lot of effort to watch him too.
Before you got the Rob Schneider, for real. Because
You know what?
Saturday Night Live at this time? Did he do that fucking Gigolo movie yet?
No,
Deuce
he
Bigalow
didn't do Gigolo yet.
was in the early 2000s, I want to say. But
Yeah.
he was just from SNL. Sly liked him.
Weird.
Of course.
He was just like, this guy's funny.
My guy. Guy's got a part for me in a movie.
So yeah, Stallone was just like laughing his ass off watching the making copies guy on SNL. He's like, I got to put this guy in my next movie.
When people talk about like how good SNL used to be, you're like,
They
you
forget
remember
some parts.
Hey, you remember Pat? It wasn't that good.
Oh, Christ.
Okay.
You know, if Rob Schneider wasn't a piece of shit, if he was actually cool, it would have been dope if he cameoed in this movie quietly as just one of the dudes in a hallway somewhere.
Yeah, if he just popped up and he's like,
and Dredd just fucking blows him away.
he just pops up and he's like,
in.
Dredd, you can do it. And then he gets shot in the head.
And just like, boom, his face opens up like the Predator's mouth.
Dredd's like trying to figure out other add-ons for his gun that he could shoot Schneider with. He's like, what else we got? Do we have like a cold ray? Do we
all
got...
you have to do is look at the gun and go, dud.
Oh man. So they head up finally, they get into the medical center after Rookie shoots the guy, by the way.
I wasn't sure if she was going to do it or not.
She hesitates pretty hard, but she'll fail if she doesn't do it. The sentence is death. He tried to kill a judge.
Look, I understand what they're trying to do with this, but lady, you know what job you fucking signed up for, right?
Yeah, but there's like thinking about being there and then actually being there. You never know how you're going to react.
Conceptually, you think you can do it until you're actually holding the gun.
It's like the cycle that serial killers go through, the way that they like build it up and fantasize about the kill in their head for years and years. But then
I know.
the second that they go try to do it the first time, they fuck it up. Then they get all depressed and they're like, I fucked that up. And it just sends them right back at the beginning of the cycle.
We talk about it at the serial killer convention.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's part of the coming of age story.
See, I missed last year's.
But I agree, Eddie. Being a cop is like that.
It's a lot like being a serial killer.
After that first one, it's much easier.
Yeah. Plus, you just got to make sure you're killing the people that people won't care so much about when they go missing, right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she does cap him, but she makes sure to look him in the eyes real good and get a real good scan of his face first.
Yeah, make sure to memorize that face.
Memorize that face, because it won't come back to haunt you at all.
I just want to think about this
hats
guy.
off for this movie for doing that.
Yeah, no, it was a good move. So then, okay, they head up to the medical center. Dude's locked in there, and he's like...
Apparently the med units are the Switzerland of megacities.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's like,
it's
hey,
off limits for good or bad guys.
Right. It's all locked up.
Right? Yeah.
And the guy's like, listen, get the fuck out of here. You're not coming in here. Like you said, this is new. This is the DMZ. This is, neutral zone. Get the fuck away. They're not in here. Leave.
I don't have to listen to you because I'm not beholden to your commands as a judge.
I'm a sovereign pharmacist.
Yeah, it's like I have a pharmaceutic immunity.
You want to see my paper, my passport?
Immunity.
I made it myself.
And he hits him with this one where he's just like, and besides, you've heard what's going on around here. This place is on lockdown. Mama's called to hit on you guys. You're already dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Was it the raid when I'm getting this movie mixed up with something. Where is it where like somebody says like everybody's like whoever lives here, they're going to get a month's free rent or 2 months
That was
free
the
rent?
raid.
That's
they did it in the raid.
Because I knew I saw it in the movie. I thought it was this.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, he tells him, look, yeah, Mama's got a hit out on you. You're fucked. And Dredd's like, okay, well, change of plans. We're going to go covert. So he's like, all right, silencers. And then the guns pop out little silencers. Oh, it's so cute. And he's like, okay.
I have over and over in my notes. That gun is so cool.
Yeah. That's the problem. You know, that's the problem is that guns are cool.
That's always been, I mean, that's really the problem behind everything. It's like, they're just too fucking cool to get anyone to listen to you.
Yeah, kind of, unfortunately.
It is fun to shoot a gun, I will say that. At a target, right?
Yep, at a target.
Attached to a human.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the biggest, like, pussy liberal, ACAB, all that shit, but, like, I'm real good with a gun, it turns out. All those arcade games like paid off because I went shooting with a friend of mine, and even though I'm not entirely comfortable doing that, I was like fucking nailing every target. I was like, oh god, that's just in me.
Who are the complete opposite end of the political side that I am. So yes, I know guns. I know how to use guns. I don't have a gun at this moment, but I know how to use them. Yes,
and that's one of those like, yeah, I get the appeal.
Right.
That doesn't change my beliefs about anything, like of larger things, but like I get why you like these things.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shit that's cool that you just shouldn't do.
Like, doing drugs is real fun too, but some of them maybe don't.
Right. Maybe you shouldn't be doing slow-mo, okay?
I was going to say, Bobby coming out anti-slow-mo, huh?
Yeah.
Staunchly anti-slow-mo.
Fucking narc.
That's why I'm talking so fast.
Would you do slow-mo, Bobby?
Oh, hell yeah. In a heartbeat.
I'd try it, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. I think we're all degenerates, though.
We are.
The whole processing thing down, right?
Yeah. Tim, I'd dose you with slow-mo when you were waiting in line somewhere.
Can you take it other ways? Can you shoot it up? Like, you start off like the inhaler, and then the inhaler doesn't do it enough for you? And you're like,
because, I mean,
if between your toes.
The guy who took it is getting a cold burn. It administers very cold into your body. So that's neat. That's like, so that's going to hit you like a big Listerine tab in the back of your throat.
So don't put it in your butthole.
No.
I'm sure somebody tried it. Come on, right?
And I'm sure somebody
butt chug slow-mo.
I'm just butt chugging slow-mo, by the way.
Oh man, Dredd kicks open a door and there's two guys butt chugging slow-mo and he just smacks out of the room
in slow-mo and then put it in.
He does the Abe Simpson where he just kind of turns around.
So I was gonna say the Homer Simpson where he just blends back into the hedge behind him. Like, I'm out of here. Oh, man. So, they silence her up, stealth around. And like you said, this is Anderson's time to shine because she psychics the next rooms. Like, okay, over here. All right, over here. It's a good pairing, man. It's a good team up. So they meet the partner of the dude that Anderson shot. They sneak into this lady's apartment.
The baby mama.
And they're like, where's the father of your children? And he's like, he's out there looking for you guys.
Yeah.
And she's like, she gives them some info to get him out of there quickly because she wants them the fuck out of her house.
Yeah.
She's just worried about her husband getting
if you're
home.
not here, you're not going to be killing anybody outside.
Right. Because Anderson...
That's why she's like, get the fuck away from where my husband is.
Boy, that was some real shit, right?
Yeah.
Bye-bye,
I'd rather the cops not be around my children because wherever the cops go, people start shooting.
Right. Because, Anderson psychics her and gets the impression like, look, she's not going to rat us out. So she's like, look, there's a service elevator. It says it's busted, but as long as you only go to floor 75 or higher, it works.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
So it's a warp whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just going to jump ahead to floor 75. We only got 90 minutes here. We don't have time.
The trick is that you use the warp whistle after you use the first warp whistle. Then you can get to the last level no matter what. But
Mama
you have to
Bowser's waiting for you.
That's true. You do have to face Bowser at that.
That's Bowser's backstory too, is he bit someone's dick off.
Became king of the Koopas.
He bit Donkey Kong's dick off and then took over the fucking...
That's why, even though he's not wearing pants, you can't see his penis.
Oh, you know what? It all I saw a person comparing Ben Shapiro to Bowser Jr., and it was about the most perfect thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that little shithead.
Because Bowser Jr.'s got more women wet than Ben Shapiro ever.
Fair.
Ew.
That is fair.
Rule 34, Candice.
My wife,
No.
my wife sent me this.
Shapiro and see what happens.
Ew.
Yeah. I bet you that's the one thing that Rule 34 is like, no, fuck it.
We're out.
404.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say 404.
I do like that he posted this big thing bitching on social media about how his producers made him go watch the Barbie movie.
43
Forced
minutes long. Now, look, I know we do a podcast where we can go 3 hours bitching about a movie, all right? But Ben Shapiro bitching about Barbie. I don't know what it is about this Barbie movie, because I won't mention who, but somebody who I know told me that even when I said this movie is like already projected to make like $100 million, he goes, it's a flop.
Yeah.
I go, what do you mean it's made $100? He goes, people are only going to see it because they want to see like a spectacle. And I'm like, so yeah, that's a movie.
Yeah, that's literally what we want. Yeah.
That's all movies.
Yeah.
No, it's a flop.
That's like getting mad because a politician won because they're popular. It's like, yeah, no shit. That's the
You
point,
just got the most
idiot.
votes because people
Nobody
like you.
wears that guy's hat, so how could he win?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not moving enough merch
But
for this to
I
be
just-
believable.
I just like the idea of Ben Shapiro, who's a not grown but man, just being like, they're like, Ben, you have to go see Barbie. He's like, I don't want to go see Barbie. Like, Ben, you have to go see.
He's going limp, and they're
I don't
dragging
wanna
him in
see
the
it.
theater.
Because it's the same mentality of like, dude, I remember being like 6 or 7 and hanging out with my friends, like watching Saturday morning cartoons. And it'd be like a Barbie commercial comes on, and we'd be like, ew, turn the channel or whatever. Because you're a 6-year-old child.
I didn't even do that at 6 years old. I was like, hey, you know what? This is going to be done in 30 seconds.
You know what I was
Right.
doing at 6? I was playing Barbies
But Eddie,
with my
you
sister.
are so naive. I can't believe how fucking naive you are.
Oh.
You think that his producers forced him to go
No, of course
see
they
a
didn't,
movie
Tim.
that everybody is fucking talking about? That there's
Of course
no way
they
that I was
didn't.
like, hey, this is going to be a good way to get my name out there.
The dickhead owns the network. He doesn't have any producer. Like, what the
Plus, you
Right.
forgot to mention, we should always mention whenever he talks about anything like this, like just like Steve Bannon and a lot of other people on the right who bitch about Hollywood and movies, failed
screenwriter. Yep.
All of them. No,
That bus is never
He had
late.
to go do Barbie because his wife made him leave the house for a few hours.
Yeah.
She had a friend coming over.
And somebody said something about Barbie, like how people should like it or Ben Shapiro should like it because it's short people with smooth genitals.
Fair.
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
So
got it mixed up.
they hop in the elevator. They start shooting up there as high as they can get into it, but they're still under Mama's watchful eye. So they get, they pop up to the 76th floor, and Dredd and Anderson decide, okay, we're going to split up here, right? Because that's always a good move in a shooter. But Dredd's like, listen, but one point of advice I got for you: don't let them take you alive.
Oh yeah, when you hear that, you're like, no,
Yeah.
dear God, do not be taken alive.
And then the prisoner plays like, don't. He was making a good point, by the way, because I've seen what they do.
Shit out of you.
Yeah, you're they're gonna give you slow mo and then fast mo.
I was a little disappointed that they used this in the movie.
I know it's
it
a
does kinda
cheap
cheapen it,
threat,
yeah.
but yeah. So she's like, all right, well, I'm gonna hop in your head real quick and just kick around, see what's going on there. And he's like, hey, guess what I'm thinking about? And this would be Tim. This would be what you'd be doing, right? So guess what I'm thinking? And it's him fucking her.
I would win. I guarantee.
You're imagining a violent sexual encounter and a feeble attempt to shock me.
Yeah. And she's like,
Not to
that's
shock you.
Oh shit! You heard that?
He's like, if I wanted to shock you,
Wait a
I'd think
second.
about this.
Oh yeah, and then he thinks about, what did he think about?
We don't see what the
We don't
evidence
see
is.
it.
We just see that she
Flash,
turns
and
and
then she
socks
just
him.
fucking clocks him. So
Yeah.
there's got to be something. To
It's
get
enough
good
to
move.
broker.
Clock him, yeah.
Yeah. So then Dredd's looking around. He goes out to the kind of courtyard area and he looks across the way, and wouldn't you know it, Mama got about 5 fucking chain guns.
Amazing.
Oh
Seeing these
my
dudes
God.
dragging these
Oh,
guns
fucking
out into the
crap.
hallway.
This is like a bonus fucking mission on Call of Duty.
Yeah, and she's still not being super dramatic.
No.
She's not like screaming across and laughing hysterically like a
No.
mustache twirling madman. She just very calmly is like, fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all right, take
when
him
she
out.
like just takes over too. Again, it's just like, yeah, just all right. Hold on, move over. I can do it a little bit better than you do.
Yep.
Yeah. So fire. Then they just eliminate the entire floor.
It's Swiss cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And like you see, that's the moment where Dredd goes shit and starts running.
Yeah, Dredd's like, uh-oh.
And everywhere he runs, like every person in the background is just getting ventilated. Like,
Yep.
Children, women, old people, just everyone's just
drop
getting
and roll,
destroyed.
Ooh, and this is where, because my husband, one of his movie pet peeves is when people use tracer rounds in movies. In like non-appropriate situations. It's like one of his pet peeves. He's like, that makes no sense. Why would you use tracer rounds?
Yeah. I mean, it'll look better, but...
Exactly, because it's for, the visual effect of it.
Well, you're shooting a fucking, what is that, a 50 caliber fucking machine gun, so it's a little bit hard to be accurate with it.
Yeah. Well, you're not really counting on accuracy with the chain gun, Tim.
Still, you want to see that you're not going all the way up to the fucking 78th floor.
Yeah, according to my husband, a tracer round is used for low visual fighting. Every third or fifth round is a tracer to show if you're hitting your target.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That's what they're actually used for. Who knew?
But this ruled this scene because like they end up crashing through a wall into the skate park for a second, and then they realize they got to go back in once.
But while they're out there,
the guns run out of bullets.
Yep. While they're out there, though, they're able to radio up for help. They're like, "Hey, we got a signal out here because we're outside of the concrete." Yeah. So they radio up for help, and a couple of judges come to check out what's going on, see if everything's okay. They just come up to the front door, ring the bell. And the guy's like, nah, we're cool. It's all good, man.
Nominal was like, no, we're fine. We're just running some tests. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, they're like, that's weird. Why is one of the floors full of bullet holes?
Yeah, there's smoke coming out of the skate park up there right now.
Yeah. The guy's like, we're barbecuing. It's okay. It's like, that sounds about right.
No, these two goofs just kind of stand around then.
Yeah.
Like, they don't leave and they don't try to get in. They just stand there for the rest of the movie.
Is this the part where Lena Headey has the knife against Domhnall Gleeson's stomach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure that he convinces them. Yeah, she's got like a curved blade up to his belly button. Like Sam Neill on The Dream Child at the beginning of Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. Because, we find out that he's reluctantly working.
Yeah,
with
he is
her.
Not happy.
Oh, yeah, she took his eyes.
Well, we didn't find that out just yet, but yeah, that's the reason he's got those cyber eyes.
I think we did see a flash.
Yeah, you see it, but you don't know the context of it.
At the time, but she gouged his eyes out and implanted cyber eyes and made him her like hacker henchman.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would have just volunteered for the cyber eyes.
Oh yeah?
If the options are, I'm going to gouge your eyeballs out, get you cyber eyes, and then you're my hacker guy, I'd just be like, you don't have to gouge them.
I don't think she gave him a choice, though.
I don't think she asked first. She just jumped on him.
Yeah, that's the context of it. It looks like it came out of nowhere.
He's good with computers, so guess what?
Yeah.
But this is my favorite scene in this movie. Because, like, we've wiped out a whole floor. It's just smoke and debris, and you can't really see, and the guns are out of bullets. They've overheated. And you just see the silhouette of Dredd walking back into frame. He's dragging a dude who he then throws off the balcony, turns around and walks away, doesn't even look at Lena Headey.
So perfect.
I said it's the cool guy walking out of smoke, chucking someone over a balcony, then calmly walking away back. It's better than the cool guy explosion.
Oh, yeah. You never see them walking back into the smoke. You only see them walking out of the smoke and then something happens. But you never see...
It's more menacing here when he walks back in because it's like, fuck. Now where is he?
Yeah, exactly. It shows him like he's a vengeful spirit or some kind of force of nature. It's
right.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
Nothing's getting me out of here.
You just wiped out the entire floor of this building with massive like cartoon machine guns, and he doesn't have a scratch on him.
Yeah. Oh, it's so and it's him sending the message, right? It's just kind of a callback to her at the beginning, throwing the 3 bodies down.
Yep.
He's like, well, I got one of my own. How about that? Thud.
I'm the captain now.
Fucking rules. So this is, then Dredd beats the prisoners guy's ass that they've been carrying around for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I noticed there's only 5 stars on the American flag, because it's very prominently displayed in the background.
Yeah, while he's beating the guy. So he's like, you know what? I guess Mama doesn't want this guy interrogated, so...
let's interrogate him.
Why don't you hop in his head?
No, he at first he's interrogating him, beating the shit out of him, and then she's like, you don't have to do that, I can read his mind.
Yeah, he's like, have to?
Yeah, he seems upset about it. He's kind of pissed.
And this scene is so fucking cool, though, because she goes in his head, and it's like, Doctor Who, where there's like no background, no set. It's just the two of them, and he's standing in a void. And he's like, you're not really prepared for what's in my mind, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts forcing her to go down on him. And while he's doing that, they pan up, and she casually walks up next to him and goes, "Hey."
Yeah. This ain't my first rodeo.
Yeah, I could play mind games too. And he looks down, and it's Lena Headey biting his dick off.
So perfect. Just biting his fucking cock off.
And when we cut back to the real world, he's pissed himself. Like they do the Phantasm thing where you just see the yellow puddle move across the floor.
Yeah, he's just on his knees, fucking sobbing, pissing himself. And she pops out of his head. She's like, "Oh, hey, I got it. Here's what's going on here.
Here's the plot."
Yeah, it turns out all of the slow-mo is being manufactured in this building. And I'm going to point it out on a map right here. So, yeah, we need to go fuck her up, like now. So Dredd's like, all right, cool. Goes down, hacks into a terminal, hits the PA. And the whole time, they're like, the hacker guy's like, listen, if we let him hit this PA up, we'll know what terminal he's at, right? So just let him talk. Mom was like, all right, fine, we'll let him talk. And he's like, all right, here's the deal. Mama's not in charge of shit. She's not the fucking law. I'm the law. She has committed a fucking crime. She's sentenced to death. If you get in my way, I'm going to fucking kill you too. How about that? See ya.
You're an accomplice to whatever crime she's being charged with, as long as you're helping her.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
What a better version of I Am the Law than that weird, yodeling one that Stallone did back in 95.
Oh, yeah.
Because he screamed it in 95, and that's the part everyone remembers. Right? And then this one where he just goes, Mama's not the law. I'm the law. And everyone goes, oh, shit. Yep. I just came. Just annihilation right in my seat.
Just hit the slow-mo and let her rip, man.
You become one with it.
Yeah. So they head down to shoot up the kiosk booth where he's at, because you can see Dredd's shadow still in the booth.
I think it's like the ticket booth outside the movie theater on that floor. Because there's movie posters and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a poster there. For something like She'll Blow It or something?
Yeah.
There's a couple of them.
But she's busting out.
She's busting out. She'll blow. Another one was a reference to an old comic book storyline. They do a lot of that.
There was something called a zoot dog.
Zoot dog.
I was like, the fuck is a zoot dog?
I'm glad that movies
dog
still
dressed to the
nines.
Yeah. I'm familiar with Zoot Suit Riots, but not Zoot Dogs. So,
well, if you read 2000 AD, Prague 237, Zoot Dog shows up.
Oh, okay. It's like a super dog, like Zoot Dog.
He's a clone of the first Zoot Dog.
Yeah, he's a clone of the original Zoot Dog. He's got a little helmet
Judge
on.
Hound.
Zoot Dog the Judge Hound.
It's like a Turner and Hooch, but with Dredd and Zoot.
For Turner and Hooch with Judge Dredd.
It was a short run series. It was a comic one. Comedic one.
It was one of those what ifs. What if Judge Dredd was a dog called Zoot Dog? I'd check that out. That'd be fun. So they shoot the fuck out of this thing, open it up, and it's just a dead dude.
He propped up a body in there.
Yeah, good move. Then they're like, oh shit, turn. There's Dredd with his fucking just god killer gun.
Beautiful. He says incendiary.
Incendiary, and it's like a fucking Iron Man smart bomb goes off.
It's insane. And just
you watch everybody just melt.
Yeah, it just burns them the fuck up, man. Just gone. So then we cut back to Mama and Dude, and they're like, what the fuck are we going to do? So Mama's like, I know.
He tallies up the kills. He's like, they've killed 32 of our guys. They don't even have a scratch.
Yeah, we're fucked. So Mama's like,
game over, man.
Yeah, no problem. Call 911.
Yep.
And they do. They call in some more judges.
And I think this came from some concept art about the Dark Judges, because there's 4 of them, like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Oh yeah, when you see them pulling
seeing
up,
the 4 corrupt judges rolling like the Expendables on their bikes, it's like I think this was from the original plans with the Dark Judges. Not to have them come in at this point, but I think that's where they got the storyboards for this stuff, because they're coming in ominously.
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense.
They're bad right off the bat.
Yeah, well, they show up where the other two judges are just hanging out front.
Oh, I did want to mention something about the earlier scene with the incendiary guns.
Sure.
So you see one of the extras has this like crazy wig. It really stands out.
He's dressed like Cher.
Yeah, like I wondered if this was one of those cases where because they reuse stuntmen in movies and they'll have them like grow a beard and then shave it. Or have long hair and then be bald. I bet he was bald, and you saw him be killed earlier in the movie, and they just threw this wig on him.
This guy to put on a jacket that bulks him out a little bit and put a wig on.
Yeah, exactly.
You go back, you realize the same guys died 16 times in this movie.
Slow-mo does cause hair loss, so...
Fair.
It's like Blue Sunshine? Hell yeah.
Wait a minute, this just looks like that redhead we killed, but with Groucho glasses on. What the fuck's happened?
Once I learned that fact about, like, action movies, I can't unsee it. I always look for it now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, pretty soon they're just going to be able to replace them all with AI, right?
No problem.
I'm sure it'll look great. So the dirty cops show up, and I'd like that they just walk up to the door, they ring it, and they're just like, hey, let us in.
And the door opens, and they just turn to these other two schmucks and go, you're relieved.
Yeah, you can get out of here. And we find out that they're being paid 1 million credits to take out Dredd.
Yep. And I love that Mama was like, that's a lot of money. He's like, do you know who Dredd is? And she goes, no. And he goes, I do. It's 1 million credits.
Yeah.
Because Judge Lex, the leader of this group, he's a 20-year man. And he's like, yeah, this city's a fucking meat grinder. Yep. He says that later in a speech. But yeah, that's...
Yep.
He's seen everything, and he wants to make enough money to not have to be a fucking cop anymore.
Exactly.
But where did he go?
Like, it seems like everything sucks.
Yeah. Where's like the rich people?
You're a law Jedi.
You
don't have a home.
Yeah, Tim, you retired. You no longer have to go chase criminals, and you move to the penthouse of some building.
Well, I can tell you from being the comic nerd on this episode, Vegas exists. Like, there's still a Las Vegas. So, he's probably just going to go there. Of course. You guys would love that if they ever got around to adapting that. There was a story that got banned because of copyright infringement, because they told a story out in like lawless Vegas, out in the in the cursed earth, and Ronald McDonald's a warlord. The fast food wars they talk about in Demolition Man, they still have in Dredd.
Oh, okay, shared universe.
I always want to think about that and I go, how could Taco Bell win?
Right. Well, there's a storyline in the Dredd comics
gave
back
everybody
in like the
diarrhea.
80s or like early 90s. I think it was like 1990, 1991. They told that story, and it got banned because they showed like the Burger King and Ronald McDonald were like opposing warlords.
That's going to get you in some trouble. So the four judges come in.
I am the copyright law.
Oh no, he's dreading a tie.
Oh, the worst one.
If that were the case, Disney would win, right? I mean, come on. So, the four judges go in to hunt down Dredd, and he runs into Judge Chan.
We're going to have an all-out judge fight. Bow, 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 bow.
Hot judge-on-judge action.
Oh, yeah.
So, Judge Chan's like, what? He's like, it's okay. Cavalry's here. We're here to get you. And Dredd's like, That's weird you didn't say 2. It's like, what?
And immediately Judge Chan goes, fuck, and starts pulling his gun.
Yeah. Yep. Like, God damn it. So, pulls his gun out.
And the way that, like, Judge Dredd seems not surprised by this, and he was immediately suspicious of him. It's like, this is by far not the first corrupt judge he's come across.
No, not at all.
He's met these guys before, too. Like, they know who he is, so he already knows they're fucking crooked.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in the comic book, but at least in this universe, it looks like you got dopey cops, you got hardcore cops, and then you got the corrupt cops.
Oh, you got all of it. Like, they run the full spectrum. There's even characters in the comics that are former judges who've thrown down their badges to do other things.
Makes sense.
In Mega City 2 over in Los Angeles, there's a guy named Judge Santos who he quit the force, went rogue, and is a Robin Hood-like hero to the people. He does take off the helmet and put on a lucha mask like Santos.
That rules.
But otherwise, he's wearing all the padding and shit, the same outfit and the armor, but he has a fucking Mexican wrestling mask
That
on.
rules.
That's awesome.
So, they get into some close quarters combat, and fucking Dredd just karate judo chops him in the throat.
Right in the trachea.
Oh, and the neck like pops and expands from the inside.
It's a beautiful throat indentation. Like it's very defined.
So good.
Because he was choking Dredd, and he's like, choke on it, Dredd, and then he does the chop and goes, choke on that.
Another great one-liner from Dredd, who just then drops him on the ground, and then his other fucking judge buddies show up just in time to watch him die.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you skipped the part with the medic when they first come in, because they go up to the medic, and he overhears them going over their story, basically, of what they found before they find it. And he goes, that's not what happened, and he fills them in on the movie so far, and they go, are you willing to testify about that? And he goes, sure, and they blow his brain.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hey, snitch.
See, and that's how you establish they're bad. They killed the neutral guy, man.
Yeah, they killed Switzerland. Never want to do that. But yeah, so Chan's fucking toast.
Yeah, Chan's fucking toast.
Chan choked to death on the ground with his neck all Looney Tunes.
Then the prisoner that they've been carrying around with him this whole time, he decides he's going to try to make a break for it off of fucking Anderson. Mm-hmm. Smacks her, takes her gun.
And she fails immediately.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because can't lose your gun. That's one of the rules.
Yeah, I thought this movie ended a little bit different. I thought spoiler alert. I thought he gives it back to her, like before anybody even knows that she lost it. But I was wrong. But she still passes.
I mean, he might as well have. Basically, the same thing happens. So he goes to fucking shoot Anderson.
So he broke the law.
Technically, yeah. That's part of his character growth, Tim.
Yep.
He goes to fucking shoot her, but then the gun reads who's trying to...
Even through your gloves, the lawgiver can pick up on some of your, I don't know, your DNA, the warmth of your hand. I don't know what it is.
It's comic book logic, because if a glove can hold your DNA, I could put a condom and stick it up your ass and then shoot your gun.
So
but wouldn't you rather take the Butch's opinion?
According to the Dredd wiki, it's because it recognizes your palm print.
But you're wearing a big, thick leather glove.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's what's on the wiki. Yeah. That's the
official
story.
The point is, the gun knows its owner, and it won't let someone else shoot it. But then again, you just have to ask the gun what to do, so let's accept that the gun has an AI and it knows who its shooter is.
If you have to ask it, it might also recognize your voice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the gun can tell whether its owner is holding it or not.
Fair. And it can tell because it blows this dude's fucking hand off.
And we don't cut away, man. His arm just goes... It's just like Murphy losing his hand in RoboCop.
All of a sudden, she turns into Betty Badass.
Oh my god, yeah. Yes. Then she just decides to fucking ninja and shoot
She's
her way out of
How
everything.
could you beat her in a fight? Any
she knows what you're about to do.
You're going to throw, she knows what to do. That's it.
I mean, it's a good point, right?
Another reason she should be in the field.
I mean, she wouldn't even technically need to fight you. If she could get into your head, she could just make you cry about your uncle diddling you.
Oh, you do any Bruce Campbell in Multiverse of Madness?
I mean, that'd be the better move, right? Fuck getting tired. Just go in someone's head and fuck them up.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So
why does Cyclops from the X-Men know hand-to-hand combat? He doesn't need it. He should be a big fat guy.
That's a good point.
His head is a fucking laser cannon. He doesn't need to do shit.
It's just the blob, but he can shoot lasers out of his head.
I just want this lazy dude who just keeps tapping his temple at everybody.
Listen, you're gonna go out.
Turret.
You're gonna go out and get me more Pop-Tarts, or else old Blinky here.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Gonna warm up. Just looking at you. Man. So then Dredd finds the lab where they're making all of the slow-mo.
Yeah, and I was like, they've been just continuing production this entire time. It
Hell
was never
yeah,
interrupted.
Candice. You think that shit's stopping?
Look,
no.
You stop when Mama tells you to stop. That's it.
Look,
You've
man.
seen what she does.
There's still time to make money.
I was kind of hoping we were going to see some titties out, but it's not that kind of drug.
Really,
grab,
Tim? Show a little class.
Come on.
Tim, you got titties already once in this movie.
Yeah. So he finds the lab.
In the worst circumstances.
Yeah, in non-consensual titties.
Yeah.
So imaginary, though, pretend in the head. So, he finds the lab. The other three judges come after his ass. And he asks them, he's like, so what's the cost of a judge? The guy's like, $1 million, split 4 ways. He's like, yeah, they're 3 now.
He's like, I'm okay with that.
It's going up, guys.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, and this is when you find out he is running out of bullets.
Yeah, so he looks down and he's almost out of ammo, right? But
wait, does that other judge's gun work the same way as the handgun? The long rifle guy?
No, it seems like they have different guns, don't they?
No, yeah, the judge, I think it's Alvarez, is the big black dude. He's got like a shotgun. I forget what they call shotguns in this universe. It's got a cute name too.
At one point, hold on, because at one point, Bobby, I thought it was a shotgun too, the way it looked. But then another point you look at it looks like a long rifle that he has.
Well, it probably does both. These are these big video game future guns.
It's called the Law Scatter.
Remember, they just had to say silencer, and a silencer grew on it.
Yeah, so it works the same way. It's just a different model.
Yeah.
So what's his
Justice
cute name?
is blind, and so is my shooting.
So what's the cute name? I need to know now.
It's the Shut Up Candice.
I think it has Scatter in the name. I don't remember
it's
what it was.
It's the TikTok.
But yeah, so he's almost out of bullets, so he has to go with what he has.
Yeah, got to go with what he's got, man. And
so he whispers "Hi X" to his gun.
Oh, yeah.
And pops this judge's fucking head like a zit.
Scanners.
Just gone.
You see the broken part of a helmet fly at the screen and land on the ground.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that's one of them where the 3D plays into it, and you're like, okay, I'll give you that one.
I think actually the one that's the best one is when the psychic girl goes crazy and she shoots that one guy underneath the chin, and you see his whole fucking face like expand out like a balloon and blow up.
That was the 3 shots to the head I was referencing earlier, because like he looks like a clicker from The Last of Us after she pulls that trigger.
Yeah. Then she this is when one of the judges runs up on Anderson, by the way.
Yeah, this is Judge Kaplan, the only woman in the bad guy crew.
Yeah, and she's all like, hey, another judge. It's, good to see you. Everything's cool. And she just, like, psychics into her head. It's like, yeah, no, you're a piece of shit. And
takes her at the knees.
Shoots her at the knees.
Had been bragging earlier, too, about, like, yeah, when we pull guns on each other, she's going to hesitate and I'm not. And then she's I'm here to, damn it. And they get shot.
She was just bragging about, she's going to hesitate. By the way, look how good my knees look. Don't they look great today?
I just got them finished.
They'll literally never go bad. And then bam. Excuse me. So, okay. Takes her ass out. Then Dredd's in. He's in having a gunfight with Judge Lex.
Yeah, Lex.
Yeah. Judge Lex switches it over to armor-piercing rounds, fires through this concrete fucking pillar. And
Dredd's out of bullets. So all he can do is stand behind a wall and hope.
Yeah, and it doesn't work too well for him because it punches through the wall and goes through his like gut shot on Dredd.
God, it's like so that little like special area that you always see in movies where it never hits anything vital. It's like a through and through.
Yeah. So he falls on the ground
but it hurts like hell.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Yeah, it didn't look fun. So he falls on the ground. Judge Lex walks up to him, and Dredd's like, "Wait." He's like, "Wait, what do you mean, wait?"
Yeah, and he just won't shut up. He just keeps talking.
What am I going to wait for? Am I going to wait for you to be in a better mood? Am I going to wait for a better circumstance for you?
When does the great Judge Dredd say, wait?
Yeah, you're supposed to be the badass here. You're telling me to wait. What do you mean? What am I supposed to be waiting for? And he's
blam, blam, blam.
Yeah, Rookie just shoots 1,000,000 bullets through the guy from behind. Just
every
dead.
part of him just exit wounds all at once.
And Dredd, I love, he just stands up, glues his shit together, staples it, looks over at Anderson and just says, "You look ready."
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And she it's so video game because they pull out some magic patch up machine. He just goes, and he's fine.
Yeah.
And
then it's video game
too. Yeah.
And she taps their guns against each other, and his gun is reloaded or some shit. It's so quick.
I love it.
I think he takes ammo off the dead judge.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He takes the ammo out of the other log without. Be careful not to try and pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a bad move. So they're like, all right, they head their way over toward Mama's chamber. On the way, they run into the tech guy.
Oh, and this is where you see his backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
she reads him, and then she's like, "We let him go," and was it Dredd is incensed. He's like, that's not only an automatic fail, you just committed a crime.
Yeah.
So he's about to stomp her ass out.
And she's like, listen, I lost my gun earlier, so I already failed. We all know that I failed, right?
You can only kill me once, right?
End until the end of this day. So as for right now, I'm still a judge.
Yeah, so
and
technically...
this is still my mission.
Yeah, technically this is my mission. I'm a judge, and I've judged him. He can go. Because, yeah, she tries to get the key to Mama's chamber out of his head.
Yeah. And she explains that, that's the thing Candice was talking about. Like, she explains, like, no, this guy's a victim, not a perp. Like, there's nuance here. You can't walk into every room dick first, Dredd.
Yeah, like, you see him, because you saw a flash of it earlier, but now you see the full picture that Mama gouged his eyes out to put those cybernetic eyes in. He's being forced to do all this stuff
for her, and he'd rather leave.
Yep.
Yeah, she's been torturing him the whole time.
Yeah. So they go over to the door, put in the gate code. Then they shoot their way through a bunch of, well, not a ton, but, basically.
Not so many left.
The crew that Mama...
coming around corners and getting shot.
Yeah. People standing next to explosive barrels and
yeah, exactly. The Mohawk guy with the switchblade, the lady in lingerie with the whip.
Yeah, he eats some wall chicken. Yeah. He just falls out.
There's the big fat guy who belches fire for some reason.
Yeah, Bobo is on the conveyor belt.
Oh, you know what? A Bobo lives in Peachtree.
Oh yeah, a Bobo? No kidding.
They have an arena fight, and he's the king of it.
Yeah, he killed Bimmy and Jimmy.
Absolutely.
There's a deep cut. Bimmy and Jimmy. So, then makes his way over to Mama. Mama slaps this thing on her wrist and's like, all right, bitch, I got a kill switch attached to me. These 50 floors loaded with explosives. So you shoot me. My heart
stops. So does the building.
Yeah. Smart. It's a good move, right? So Dredd's like, all right. Shoots her in the stomach. Bam.
Yeah, that's right. You can just keep her alive, right?
Yeah.
Just go and punch her in the face.
Yeah. Well,
he figured out a better solution.
He's like, well, your heart's not going to stop. I'll shoot you in the stomach.
Yeah, Dredd's a little more creative than just punching a woman in the face, Tim. So he shoots her in the stomach.
Trying to be more humane.
Then he looks at the little wrist thing, and he's like, our radios have communication problems going through these hundreds of feet of concrete. I wonder if your wrist communicator is going to have a similar problem.
When you go down 200 floors.
What's the range on that thing?
Yeah. And then he just doses her with slow-mo first.
Which he didn't have to do that.
No, that was just him being sadistic.
Yeah, that was for him.
That was jazz. That was just him, improving real quick.
Just rubbing some funk on it. He's trying to... He's feeling himself right now.
Yeah, he's, we might as well. Why not? You're at the top of the tower.
Look, I can only kill you once. I'm going to make it slow. Right?
When am I going to get another shot at this? We're 200 floors up. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We've all wanted to see it.
I'd judge myself if I didn't do it.
Exactly, and then I'd have to kill myself, and that's not happening. So he reads her crimes, and he's like, look, I doubt the range on that thing is going to read you from the ground. So he just tosses her ass out the fucking... off the balcony,
man.
And you experience the slow-mo with her.
Oh,
it's incredible. And the choice, I cackled in the theater when this happened.
Yeah.
Because right before she gets to the ground, and you think you're going to get earlier, we're going to see the impact, because we get slow-mo to where she's 3 inches from the pavement going face first. Mm-hmm. But then we switch the camera POV to the ground itself. Oh. And she smashes the screen.
It's so good.
In 3D, in slow motion, sparkles everywhere.
Oh, man.
See, they filled Lena Headey's mouth with fake blood and just had her go as she pressed her face against the glass.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know how I hate when they do fucking blood on the screen.
Yeah. This one works,
man.
This
worked, man.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat makers, write this down, because that's the next pit level, right? We just see they hit the screen.
Oh, you think we're gonna get Dredd in the new Mortal Kombat?
Dude,
we've already got Peacemaker and
we've
what's
had
his
RoboCop,
name?
We've had Rambo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, shit, I'm all for it, man. So her kill switch goes off, but then nothing happens because they're out of range.
And Dredd's like, huh.
Dredd's like
he wasn't sure it was going to work.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay.
He's like, all right, well, that's a
we didn't blow
bonus. You know, it's like
Just
when you,
risked 50 floors. How many people is on 50 floors in that fucking building, huh?
that's a lot of people. But
Yeah,
Tim,
That's a lot. Yeah.
for Dredd, that's like finding the bonus onion ring in your French fries. You know, he's like,
if
how
he
about
just
that?
happened to kill 200 people accidentally.
Right? Yeah,
It'd be acceptable.
yeah.
I'm always suspecting that onion ring. Like, what the fuck?
So Dredd
Look,
gets
they died in
the
service to the law. There's nothing more beautiful than that.
yeah. So Dredd gets Anderson, patches her up, and
Take the long elevator down.
takes the long elevator down. You see all
Should have
of
done the credits while they did that.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. And all the shutters just lifting up from the building. You see the sunlight finally getting back in there. And as they're walking out, he tells her that the assessment's over, and she just takes her badge, hands it to him, and walks away.
And the chief walks up.
Yeah. Chief walks up and says, so how'd the evaluation go? What happened in there? We lost contact. He's like, it's a drug bust.
Yeah,
Just another day.
Standard.
Yep.
He looks at her walking away. He looks down at the badge. He's thinking about all that he's experienced and learned today, and he goes, she's a pass.
Yeah.
And it shows character growth.
And that's
Bending
it.
the rules.
Well, he understands now that, like, you need to have some nuance. You need to have some compassion. Yeah. And he's not capable of it, but he thinks that the Force needs people like Anderson who can do what he is incapable of.
Yeah, he shows growth. That day, the Dredd's heart grew 4 times its size.
You just see it's a slightly larger pebble in his chest.
Yeah, just dink. And walks away, and then we get credits, and that is Dredd from 2012. Man, what a fantastic movie.
So, I hope this was an appropriate ending to Hard Dick in July.
I think it was. I think it's a great way to put it, man. Great place to end it at. Candice, I'm glad you enjoyed it more on your second viewing.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can definitely see what people love in it. There's a lot to love in it. It just doesn't connect with me, but that's all right.
I understand that, though. It was never meant to be for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and
not for Candice.
Not for girls.
I'm
this
not
isn't for girls, Candice.
Yeah, Candice. You need to go watch your Barbie movie. Ew.
Hard-dicked men go see Oppenheimer.
Oh, man. So, Bobby, man, thank you so much for bringing this on to the show. And if people wanted to hear more Bobby, what should they do?
Oh, man. My jurisdiction is the Grindbin podcast. If you've heard the Bloody Bits Horror Show, you've heard every member of the show appear on my show a multitude of times. It's all in the family, baby. But we're at GrindPod on Twitter. You can catch all of that. We're, at the time of this recording, about to go into the often look forward to summer sequel month.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. So I'm always the one who curates these. I've picked some good ones this year. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then that's just a short time away from Camvember. The World Series,
the most
of the
wonderful
Grindbin.
time of the year, except for watching movies.
We got some good ones planned this year too. I'll go ahead and spoil this right now. I have on deck a porno that Cameron Mitchell accidentally made.
What? Oh my God.
You mean he's like, wait a second, hold on, cut, it slipped in.
Like he agreed and appeared in a film, and then didn't know until later that it was a porn.
That's fantastic.
He must have been standing around
that's
on
why
set
you don't
being
show
like,
up
"Why
with
is
this
everybody fucking?"
Yeah, open bars on the set.
Boy, this crew really gets along.
Wow.
I did find a hamster cut of that. Anyone who listens to our show knows what that means. So that should be a fun one. That's planned as of right now. Card subject to change as always.
That'll be an interesting one to see who the guest is.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to spoil any of that, but lot to look forward to over on the Grindbin. So if you don't also listen to the Grindbin, fix that shit.
Yeah, go take a look, man. Grindbin is fantastic. So if you like what you're listening to here, you'll definitely dig that. What about you, Candice?
I'm going to be coming up with everything I learned from movies. We're going to be covering... God, what movie are we going to be covering? Shit, I do not remember.
Wow.
Oh, Cyborg 2. I'm sorry.
Cyborg 2.
My brain just melted. It's Cyborg 2, yes.
Are you gonna get a beer for the occasion?
I don't think so, because we record on like Mondays, and I work the next day, so...
Ah, yes, I understand
no beer time.
Gotcha. What about you, Tim?
I'm just sure that something's coming up with Daniel. I'm sure that at some point I'll be on the Grindbin mini bins.
Oh, he's always lurking about.
Yeah, I'm always around. I got nothing to do during the day or night. Anytime somebody needs a podcast, drop in. I'm your guy.
Yep, you just have to fly the Yobo signal up in the air, and he'll come a running.
He's the judge.
What would that look like?
He's always patrolling.
Wouldn't there just be a volcano silhouette?
Yeah, it'd be like a bong.
Yeah, the volcano silhouette works the best. Yep.
Yeah. And I tell you what, if you want to hear more of Tim and Candice, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/bloodybits, where you can get access to all of our bonus episodes, as well as the Blood Bank that currently has over 6,000 titles in it. That's more than 3 times what's on Hulu, baby.
Oh,
How many movies would you say get added every week on average? At least, 10?
Yeah, about
15?
10. About 10 movies get added every week. And in fact, I'll tell you about some that were added just this week. Bobby, you were talking about a sequel month. What about In the Line of Duty 5, Middleman?
Wait, what? In the Line of Duty? Wait, the Clint Eastwood movie?
I'm not seeing Clint Eastwood much.
The first one,
here.
Right? Wasn't that In the Line of Duty?
I believe it was, yes. But this appears to be a Chinese action drama.
Okay.
So I don't think Clint's going to be in there. But you know what? You never know. He does.
Might get Scott.
He does tend to just pop up every once in a while. We've also added Time Rider, The Adventure of Lyle Swan.
That sounds good.
Okay.
From 1983, starring Fred Ward. Peter Coyote's in it, LQ Jones.
Wow.
This one looks fun. Lynn Swan is a successful off-road racer who mistakenly gets sent back in time 100 years.
That does sound pretty good.
Bobby.
It's sometimes good movies have stupid titles.
So this one sounds like fun. And if you want to watch that and more, patreon.com/bloodybits. Yeah, Bobby, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for bringing a fantastic movie for the end of Hard Dicked July. And can't wait to have you back to dive into the 90s, man.
Oh, it's going to be
We need to do a Hard Nipple movie.
A Hard Nipped month?
Man,
Nipple.
The new In Search of Darkness documentary is supposed to be about the 90s. And I'm like,
that's what I said. That's what made your nipples hard.
I was going to say, put us in, Coach. We're ready.
Oh, we're ready.
The last one had a ton of podcasters in it. Put us in here.
Yeah. Hey, if you're listening, give me a
ring.
We're
all available.
We're all available. And with that, folks, I think that this is how we end it.